This is Retro Sports Radio. Visit RetroSeasons.com for more sports history.
The Kansas City Royals faced the Milwaukee Brewers at County Stadium in Milwaukee for a Friday night game on June 15, 1979. Kansas City entered the 1979 campaign with a lot of hope, having gone to the ALCS in each of the past 3 seasons, but losing to the Yankees each time. They were managed by Whitey Herzog, who took over as manager in 1976 from Jack McKeon and finished in first place in the AL West every year since. Milwaukee had a lot of optimism in 1979 as well under manager George Bamberger, who had led the team to a 93-win season in 1978, the first time in 10 years the franchise ever finished over 500. This audio recording is from the Kansas City radio broadcast featuring announcers Denny Matthews and Fred White.
Thank you, Fred. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you happen to be around the globe. The Royals and the Brewers set to square off in Game 1 of the 3-game series. And Mike Caldwell, the left-hander with a record of 6-5, set to face Willie Wilson, George Brett, and Amos Otis. Willie comes into the game batting .342 with 2 home runs and 10 RBIs. He's hitting .455 against the Brewers this year, 5 out of 11, and 1 RBI. Willie will be up there right-handed against the sinker bowler, Mike Caldwell. Set to go, Charlie Moore drops down a sign for Mike Caldwell. Here's the lineup in the first pitch of the ball game. It's a breaking pitch outside. Mike Caldwell making his 14th start, his first start against the Royals this year. He was 2-1 against the Royals last year. Willie belts one into left field. Ogilvie, the left fielder, coming in, makes the catch, and there's one away. Willie Wilson flies to left, and now George Brett. The Royals' third baseman carries an average of .330 into the contest. 7 home runs, 36 RBIs. George is just 1 out of 10 with an RBI against Milwaukee. Mike Caldwell beat the Royals twice last year. He shut them out here in Milwaukee in May, 9-0. And then he beat Paul Splittorff in mid-July here, 13-2. He lost to the Royals in Kansas City when the Brewers were shut out. The pitch to George Brett is a bit outside, ball 1. Bill Haller, the plate umpire tonight, one of the very best. All 3 games that Mike Caldwell pitched against the Royals last year were complete games. George, after a breaking ball, didn't get it. 1 ball and 1 strike on George Brett. Base is empty, 1 away. Just the start of things. So make yourself comfortable and spend the evening with us. 1 ball, 1 strike on Brett. Amos Otis will be next, and here's Caldwell's pitch. Breaking ball is lined to right field. As Cano to his left, he makes the catch. George got a breaking ball, lined it straight at Lescano. 2 Royals gone, and here's Amos Otis. Amos hitting .298, 5 homers, 34 RBIs. He is 6 out of 10 against Milwaukee this year. So he's a .600 hitter against the Brewers. 1 home run, 2 RBIs, and he scored 4 runs. He batted .300 against Milwaukee last year. Amos 4th in the American League in runs scored. The pitch to Amos is a bit outside, ball 1. George Brett, by the way, leads the American League in runs scored. At bats, he leads in hits with 86. He leads in triples and in total bases. Outside and high, 2 balls and no strikes on Amos Otis. Nobody on, 2 out, top half of the first inning. Mike Caldwell behind Amos Otis, 2 balls, no strikes. Here's the pitch. A little tap. Caldwell off the mound toward first base, underhand toss. In time, side to tire. The 2 fly balls and a tap back to the pitcher. And that tells the Royals story in the top half of the first. After half an inning, Royals nothing, Brewers coming up. Let's look at details of the baseball games played in the American League last night. Ben Ogilvie smacked a 2-run homer as the Milwaukee Brewers beat the Texas Rangers 6-2. Bill Travers went the distance in getting the win for Milwaukee. The losing pitcher was the Rangers' Doyle Alexander. Elsewhere, Willie Aikens hit his 2nd Grand Slam homer in as many games as the California Angels whipped the Toronto Blue Jays 10-2. Aikens became the 9th player to hit bases-full homers in consecutive games. The Seattle Mariners spoiled Sparky Anderson's debut as manager of the Detroit Tigers. The Mariners edged the Bengal 3-2 when Detroit's Aurelio Rodriguez booted an infield grounder in the ninth, allowing Leon Roberts to score from third. Sean Raleigh got the win for Seattle. Detroit's John Hiller was the loser. Butch Waniger's double scored 3 runs during a 4-run fourth-inning uprising to face the Minnesota Twins to a 4-2 win over the New York Yankees. Jeff Zahn worked the first 6 innings while giving up 5 hits, and super reliever Mike Marshall earned his 15th save in his 37th appearance by scattering 2 hits over the final 3 innings. In the other American League game, Jim Norris's 2-run triple in the bottom of the ninth gave the Cleveland Indians a 2-1 squeaker over the Oakland A's. Sid Monge got the win in relief of starter Len Barker. Jim Todd took the loss for Oakland. Oakland-Toronto, by the way, after 5 tonight. It's Toronto leading the A's 2-0. Milwaukee Brewers come to bat in the bottom of the first inning. Paul Splittorff on the mound for the Royals. Paul hasn't pitched in 9 days. He missed his turn against the Yankees on Sunday in Kansas City because of the flu. He's making his 15th start, his second against the Brewers. Paul Molitor leading off. Paul hitting .303 with 4 home runs, 23 RBIs. He has a 5-game hitting streak. Paul starts him off with a breaking pitch, and it's inside and low, ball 1. Paul Molitor, 4 out of 13 against the Royals this year. He's got 8 for 23 in his 5-game hitting streak. Fastball, good cut. He fouled it back to the screen, and the count is 1-1. Paul Molitor, in his last 25 games, has been a .370 hitter. 69 hits now for Paul, right-hand batter. Splittorff's pitch. Off speed and low and outside. 2 balls and a strike. Splittorff has won 7 of his last 10 decisions. Let up is low. 3 balls and a strike. The Brewers lead the American League in walks drawn. They've drawn 253 walks. So you better throw strikes to this team. Bouncy ball, base hit to left. Molitor opens the bottom of the first with a ground ball single between Brett and Pacha. So what happened, Splittorff ran the count 3-1. He got behind Molitor, then he did throw a strike, and Molitor promptly singled. Here's Cecil Cooper, Brewers first baseman. Coop hitting .295, 11 home runs, 45 RBIs. Cecil is 0 for 9 against the Royals this year. Paul Molitor at first, well, they're watching. He has 13 steals. George Scott wearing a Royal uniform. He's holding the runner on. Paul's pitch is up too high to the left-hand batter. Ball 1. Splittorff is tied for a third in the American League with 8 victories. He has 5 complete games, and complete games in his last 2 outings. Good breaking ball for a strike, and it's evened out 1-1 on Cecil Cooper. His most recent outing came on June the 6th in Baltimore. He lost 3-0. He went the distance, which amounted to 8 innings. Allowed 3 runs, 7 hits, 2 walks, and a strikeout. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Cooper. Coop had a notion and laid off. It was just outside. 2 balls and a strike. Paul is 3-4 against Eastern Division teams, 5-1 against the West. He's pitched very well at Royal Stadium, winning 6 of 7. He's won 2 of 6 on the road. Way high, ball 3, and it's 3-1. Paul has been behind 3-1 to the first 2 hitters. Well, as we said, he hasn't pitched in 9 days. And as he put it before the game, I really don't know what to expect. The runner goes, and the pitch is fouled away. So Molitor, the runner at first, was running with the 3-1 pitch. He'll go back to first, and now the count is 3-2, and we'll check him out again. Waiting his turn in the on-deck circle, Sal Bando. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Cecil Cooper. Signal given by Darrell Porter. Here's the stretch by Paul. Over to first he goes, thinking that Molitor will be on the move. Brett made the start against the Brewers in Kansas City on June the 2nd. Went the distance for a 4-3 win. The runner does go, and a ground ball base hit to right field. Molitor on his way to third, and the Brewers have first and third, nobody out. Bando, Thomas, and Ogilvy coming up. Boy, that's a perfect example of how tough it is to pitch behind big league hitters. Even with all selection of pitches, the fastball, the curveball, sliders, he changes off the curve. He'll throw it. Just a straight change, but it's tough when you're behind. And the Brewers have runners at first and third to prove it. Here's Sal Bando. Bando hitting .228, 4 homers, 16 RBIs. He has always did well against the Royals. He was tough against the Royals as a member of the A's. Then he changed uniforms, but that didn't change. The pitch to Sal is a breaking ball, low and inside, ball 1. Right-hand batter, stockily built, chokes the bat. He chokes about 3 inches. Runners at the corners, the 1-0 pitch, curveball, a strike at the letters, 1-1. Cleveland just pasting Seattle. It's now 9-0. Bobby Bonds homered in the 3rd inning with nobody on, his 8th. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Bando. Ball did not get the corner. 2 balls and a strike. Meanwhile, in Toronto, it's Toronto 2, the Oakland A's nothing. They've played 4. The Mets have a 1-0 lead over Atlanta after 2 at Shea. 2 balls and a strike on Bando. Runners at first and third. Hot shot foul outside third. And the count evens out at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Detroit 1, California nothing. They've played 2 in Detroit. Marky Anderson now at the helm of the Tigers. When Splittorff beat the Brewers in Kansas City on June the 2nd, he allowed 9 hits, 3 runs, walked 5, struck out 3. The 2-2 pitch to Bando, belted to deep left field. Back goes Willie Wilson to the wall. Gone. Milwaukee 3, the Royals nothing. For Sal, a 3-run homer, his 5th home run of the year. 2 singles and a home run by Bando. A very unpromising start for the Royals. Here is Gorman Thomas, the .235 hitter. Big curveball, swung and missed, 0-1. For Gorman Thomas, 13 home runs, 38 RBIs. Is 3rd in the league in free passes. He's walked 43 times. Curveball, a strike called, 0-2. Thomas is tied for 3rd in the American League in home runs. No balls, 2 strikes, right-hand batter. Breaking stuff is low. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Gorman Thomas. Was the 8th home run that Paul Splittorff has yielded this year. It was good for 3. Singles by Molitor and Cooper preceded Bando's blast into the left field seat. Paul's 1-2 change to Thomas is hit on 1 hop to Potek. Freddie fires to first in time. So Gorman Thomas retired, 1 away, and here's Ben Ogilvy. Empty, 1 out. The batter's Ben Ogilvy. And a .232 hitter, a dozen homers, 36 RBIs. Ogilvy in his last 12 games has hit .311, 14 for 45. He's 2 out of 7 against the Royals. Paul Splittorff's pitch to the tall, thin left-hand batter is low and outside, ball 1. Well, the Royals are winding down a stretch of 19 consecutive games against the top 4 teams in the Eastern Division. This 3-game set with the Brewers will end that. Breaking ball, a strike on the outside corner. Ogilvy not so sure. Turns and looks at Bill Haller, the plate umpire. The Royals in this stretch of games have won 7. They've lost 9. They beat the Brewers 2 out of 3 in Kansas City last week. There's a drive to deep center. Back goes Amos Otis to the center field wall. He leaps up and makes the catch. Fine play by Royals center fielder Amos Otis. He timed his leap perfectly. And the only reason that Ben Ogilvy didn't hit a home run, he picked on the deepest part of the ballpark. 402 to straightaway center. And that's where Otis was when he hauled down that long drive. Here is Sixto Lezcano, the Milwaukee right fielder. Lezcano batting .320 with 8 homers, 38 batted in. He has hit safely in 4 straight. So Paul Splittorff getting rocked here in the first inning. 3-0 Brewers, 2 singles, and then Bando's 3-run homer. Curve to Lezcano, a right-hand batter, low, ball 1. Split ready, and he comes with a fastball that's down low, 2 balls and no strikes. The Royals still reeling from playing the Boston Red Sox 2 nights ago. The Red Sox getting 18 hits, including 4 homers. One of them a grand slam. There's ball 3 to Lezcano. Lezcano will quite likely swing if he likes this pitch. He took a strike, and it's 3-1. He has more power than you would think just to look at him. Fastball, he chopped it up along third, foul. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Tomorrow, either Marty Patton or Steve Busby for the Royals, Jim Slayton pitching for the Brewers. And on Sunday, Rich Gale and Larry Sorensen. And you say either Marty Patton or Steve Busby. You can see what kind of shape the Royals staff is in. High ball 4, and Lezcano walks. Shortstop Robin Yount. Yount hitting .231, 4 homers, and 17 RBIs. Al Rabosky is the only pitcher on the staff who hasn't started a game this season. Dennis Leonard hasn't worked since the 24th of May because of inflammation in his right elbow. Steve Busby was forced out of Monday night's game after 9 1/3 innings because of a pulled groin muscle. Yount, a right-hand batter, takes inside ball 1. Paul Splittorff, as we mentioned, making his first start in 9 days. Stephen Gorey had to start a game against the Yankees. His first start in 4 years. Breaking ball hit up the middle, base hit. Lezcano around second on his way to third on Robin Yount's single. Out comes pitching coach Galen Cisco. The last thing the manager Whitey Herzog wanted tonight was to pull his starting pitcher in the first 2 or 3 innings. So I'm sure just because of the physical state of the Royal pitching staff, he'll go much longer than he normally would with Paul. But the Brewers certainly taking liberties here in the first, and unless Paul can find himself and get his good stuff, why, it's going to be a long night. Runners at first and third, 2 down. A 3-run home run and a walk here in the inning. And the Brewers aren't through yet. Dick Davis, the DH, coming to the plate. Davis hitting .266, 4 homers, a dozen RBIs. Darrell Porter out to visit with Paul. Dick Davis, right-hand batter. When Galen Cisco comes out, that means the bullpen will start, but like we said, the Royals can ill afford to have their starting pitcher leave in the first few innings, so the bullpen is quiet. The pitch to Dick Davis, bouncing ball, deep third. Brett will have a long throw to make, and it's on target. Good play by George. George Brett to George Scott. By George, the Brewers are out. But they come up with 3 runs, 4 hits from the big blow, Bando's 3-run homer. At the end of 1, Milwaukee 3 and the Royals nothing. Looking at the National League results from last night, Mick Kelliger lashed a 2-out, 2-run single off reliever Gary Lavelle in the top of the 9th inning to give the Chicago Cubs an 8-6 win over the San Francisco Giants. The hit followed a wild pitch that moved Cub runners in the scoring position. LaBelle took the loss. Cover reliever Dick Tidrow got the victory. Willie McCovey of the Giants homered in the third, his 513th lifetime, moving him into 9th place on the all-time list. Other action, Gary Carter's 2-run double in the 8th inning helped the Montreal Expos beat the Atlanta Braves 4-3. Reliever Elias Sosa pitched 2 innings of hitless ball and notched the victory. Atlanta's Gene Garber was the loser. On the West Coast, at San Diego, pinch hitter Barry Evans lined a 2-out single to right center in the bottom of the 14th inning to score Ozzie Smith from second base, give the San Diego Padres a 2-1 victory over the Pittsburgh Pirates in a sweep of the 3-game series from the Bucs. After John Candelera, making a rare relief appearance, retired the first 2 batters in the bottom of the 14th, Smith reached first when shortstop Tim Foley booted his grounder for an error. Dave Winfield then drew a walk before Evans smacked his game-winning hit. John D'Acquisto, now 3-4, pitched the final inning that gained the victory, and Candelera took the loss. His record falls to 4-6. And we'll be checking the American and National League scoreboard. A lot of games on the way now in a few moments. In fact, there are all the games on the way in the American League, and there are 3 in the National. The Brewers leading 3-0, and for the Royals, Al Collins, George Scott, and Darrell Porter will be coming up against Mike Caldwell. Before the Royals bat, let's pause for station identification. This is the Kansas City Royals Radio Network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
At Milwaukee's County Stadium. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Milwaukee Brewers. The Royals went down 1-2-3 against Mike Caldwell in the first. The batter, Al Collins. Al hitting .323, 5 homers, 31 RBIs. Al is 3 out of 8 with 2 runs batted in against the Brewers this year. Collins, since coming off the disabled list 14 games ago on May the 30th, has batted .353. That's 18 for 51. With 7 RBIs and 5 runs scored. Al, in his 5-game hitting streak, has gone 9 for 21. And he's driven in at least 1 run in 5 of his last 7 games. Mike Caldwell's pitch is a curveball low and inside. Al had to be quick with his feet to avoid being plunked in the ankle. 1-0. Mike Caldwell 1-1 this month. He lost his last outing to the White Sox 6-2. That was here at County Stadium on the 9th. Mike allowed 5 runs in 8 innings, 6 hits, didn't walk anybody, struck out 4. He beat the White Sox on June the 4th. That was in Chicago, and he shut them out 6-0. He started the season with wins over the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Orioles. Line shot into center field, base hit for Collins. So Al, the Royals' first base runner, and now George Scott making his first appearance at the plate in a Royal uniform. And Scotty, a former Brewer, and he hears the fans. He's the favorite here no longer. George must feel right at home in the sense that this was the kind of reception he was getting in Boston. He was traded to the Royals 2 days ago for outfielder Tom Poquette. So here's Scotty wearing number 0. Al Oliver of the Rangers also wears 0. And the pitch is on the outside corner for Mike Caldwell. Mike Caldwell, 30 years old, just had a tremendous season in 1978. A 22-game winner. George Scott hits a high pop foul into the seats down the right field line. No balls and 2 strikes. Only the Yankees' Ron Guidry had a better season than Milwaukee Brewers left-hander Mike Caldwell last year. Mike throws a sinker, a slider, a curve, and a change. And he will keep everything down. He can be a very tough pitcher on a right-hand batter, even though he's a left-hander, because that sinker will kind of break down and away from the right-hand batter. So he'll get a number of double plays out of that pitch, especially if they try to pull it. Scotty, after a breaking ball, shot it foul right at the feet of the catcher, Charlie Moore. And the count 0-2. Mike Caldwell, a tough competitor. Time was when he would fuss around on the mound and take all kinds of time. But not anymore. He's become more aggressive. He's speeded things up, and he's a better pitcher. High fly ball, rather deep center. Gorman Thomas back into his left to the warning track to one-handed. And Collins, almost down to second, has to retreat to first. So Mike Caldwell kept Scotty in the ballpark, even though George sent center fielder Gorman Thomas back to the wall. One away, here comes catcher Darrell Porter, and Darrell, a former Milwaukee Brewer. Darrell batting .296, 7 home runs, 48 RBIs. Against his old team this year, 3 out of 7. 2 runs scored, 2 batted in. Mike Caldwell goes to first. Al Collins is back. Nothing special at all about Mike Caldwell's move to first. The Royals feel that they can run on Caldwell, although now down 3-0. Well, that's a different story, perhaps. Outside to Darrell Porter, 1 ball, no strikes. Maybe more than any team in baseball will run when they are behind in the score. Darrell gets the pitch in too tight, and the count 2-0. The reason for that, the Royals are not a power team. They don't play in a power ballpark. So even though they trail 2-0, 3-0, 6-0, they'll still play their running game. That's their offense. Bouncing ball to second baseman Molitor. Over to Yount for the force at second on Al Collins, and that's all they get. Darrell at first with 2 down, and John Watson coming up. Duke the DH tonight. He's hitting .244 with 14 RBIs and 1 home run. Milwaukee 3, Royals nothing. We're in the top of the second. Beautiful night, rather strong breeze blowing toward left. The temperature at game time was 84. Watson takes down low, 1 ball, no strike. Duke 0 for 4 against the Brewers. Darrell Porter, a very safe lead at first. Mike Caldwell's pitch, but after a breaking ball and missed, and the count 1-1. Is currently tied with teammate Larry Sorensen for the league's top spot in complete games. Both Milwaukee pitchers have 9 complete games. Bouncing ball off the tip of the pitcher's glove. Second baseman Molitor shovels for the shortstop Yount for the force on Darrell Porter. And that retires the side. The Royals in the top of the second, 1 hit, no runs. 1 man left. We move to the bottom of the second inning. The Brewers 3 and the Royals nothing.
Okay, let's check the baseball scoreboard now. Other American League action. After 4 innings of play, Cleveland pouring it on Seattle 9-2. They had 1 in the first, 7 in the second, and 1 in the third. 2 runs to Seattle in the fourth. Jones, Seattle, is 14th of the year in the fourth with nobody on. California, Detroit after 3. The Angels lead the Tigers 3-2. Bobby Grich, a home run for the Angels in the fourth with nobody on. He is 14th of the year. 5 innings to play. Toronto ahead of Oakland 3-0. Boston and Chicago, first inning, White Sox 2, Red Sox 1. After 2, Baltimore leads Minnesota 1-0 on a John Lowenstein home run into the center field seats. His 6th of the year in the second, nobody on. New York and Texas, no score after 2.5 innings of play. Checking the National League scoreboard now after 4, Houston 1, Montreal 1, 4.5, the Mets lead Atlanta 1-0, 3 innings of play. The Philadelphia Phillies 3, and the Cincinnati Reds 1. 3 late games on the West Coast in the National League. St. Louis and San Francisco, Pete Vukovich 6-3, the probable pitcher for the Cardinals. For San Francisco, Phil Nestor 2-4. Pittsburgh at Los Angeles for the Pirates, Bert Blyleven 2-2. For the Dodgers, Don Sutton 6-6. And Chicago Cubs at San Diego. For the Cubbies, Rick Russell 5-5. And for the San Diego Padres, it's expected to be Eric Rasmussen. His record so far 3-6.
In Milwaukee, it's 3-0 Brewers. 3 runs on 4 hits for Milwaukee as they sent 8 men to the plate in the first inning. Sal Bando, a 3-run home run following singles by Molitor and Cooper. Here's Charlie Moore, the catcher, the number 9 hitter, and Charlie takes the strike. Charlie Moore batting .362 with a home run and 15 RBIs. Right-hand batter, Splittorff curveball, a beauty, strike 2. Charlie Moore in his last 28 games has 29 hits and 75 at-bats. That figures out to a .387 average. Inside, a fastball. Got his attention. 1-2. John Wallenstein has homered for Baltimore in Minnesota. And the Orioles have taken a 1-0 lead over the Twins. Wallenstein's homer is 6th. Rolling outside is Paul, 2-2 now to Charlie Moore. Wallenstein's home run came in the second inning. Rupert Jones, a former Royal, has homered for Seattle. Curve, strike 3 call. Charlie Moore fooled by a breaking pitch. For Paul Splittorff, his first strikeout. Up comes second baseman Paul Molitor, who extended his hitting streak to 6 with his first inning single. Rupert Jones' home run in the 4th inning with nobody on was his 14th. But Cleveland way out in front of the Mariners, 9-2. The Angels have tied the Tigers on a home run by Bob Gritch. That came in the 4th inning with nobody on. Splittorff's pitch is a ball. 1 ball, no strikes on Paul Molitor. The left-hander deals. Off-speed breaking pitch out of the strike zone. Ball 2, 2-0. Signal given, the 2-0 pitch. Ball 3. Paul walked a man in the first inning. He walked Liscano. But his problem started working behind the hitters. There's a strike, 3-1. He fell behind both Molitor and Cooper. They both singled. He was 2-2 on Sal Bando, and Sal homered into the seats and left. Molitor, a wicked swing at a fastball, and he fouled it back to the screen. Full count, 3-2. The Brewers started the night tied with the Boston Red Sox for the American League lead in home runs. Milwaukee now 68-team home runs. Bouncing ball past the mound, backhanded by White. Frank will have no play. It'll be an infield single for Molitor. Frank made a nice play just to get to the ball. But once he came up with it in short center field on the backhand, he had nowhere to go with it. Molitor had already crossed the base. Hit number 5 for Milwaukee here is Cecil Cooper, who, like Molitor, singled and scored his first time up. Bag now doing a little landscaping down in front of the pitching rubber. The Royals' team earned run average is a rather unsightly 4.53. Paul's pitch is high, 1 ball, no strikes on left-hand hitting Cecil Cooper. One on, one out, 3-0 Milwaukee. Here's the pitch. Foul ball, backing out of play. Cecil Cooper had a good cut at that pitch. One ball and 1 strike on the Milwaukee Brewers' first baseman. Cooper now has 73 hits for the year. Checks the runner. Here's the pitch. Fastball is high. 2 balls and a strike. Cecil Cooper had a fine year in '78. He batted .312 with 13 home runs, 54 RBIs. High fly ball, right field. Collins to his right. Still drifting to his right, calling for the ball and makes the catch. And Molitor back to first. Cecil Cooper is just 2 home runs behind his output of 1978 season. But here in the second, he's gone on a fly ball to right, and here is Sal Bando. Sal hit his 5th home run of the year in the first inning with 2 men on, and that's the ball game to this point. 3-0 Brewers, bottom of the second. Runner at first, 2 down. Paul Splittorff checking in with Darrell Porter. Darrell drops down inside. Paul Splittorff set at the belt. There goes the runner. Bando takes inside, and no throw as the ball was blowing inside. Darrell could not come up with it. And Molitor has his 14th stolen base. So a chance for Sal Bando to get his 4th RBI of the game and his 20th of the year. Splittorff pitches. There goes Molitor toward third, and no throw. A hit first fly. 15 stolen bases. Molitor got a tremendous jump. Neither Potek nor Frank White very close to second base. Paul didn't pay that much attention to Molitor. And even though with 2 out, he's not that much better off at third than at second, Molitor figures, what the heck? If they don't care, I'm going. So an infield hit, wild pitch, pass ball, and air could get the Brewers their 4th run. 2 balls, no strikes, so Paul is behind Salvando. High, ball 3. Bando checking with Bob Rogers, his third base coach. Let's see if they have the cuffs on, Sal. The 3-0 pitch. Now he's swinging, and what a cut he had. He fouled it back. It figured that Bando was swinging. Here's your number 3 hitter. You're leading 3-0. There are 2 out, a runner at third. Why not? Already the 3-1 pitch. Breaking ball, well thrown, and the best Bando could do with that pitch was to top it foul right at the feet of Darrell Porter. 3-2. Lifetime against Milwaukee, 11 wins and 6 losses. Bando takes outside, ball 4. The batter, Gorman Thomas. Thomas bounced out to Potek his first time up. Big, strong right-hand batter. Gorman Thomas, 6'3", 205. Gorman hit 32 home runs last year. 13 so far this season. Runners at first and third, 2 down. After a breaking ball, he topped it foul. No balls and a strike. Gorman Thomas will see a lot of breaking stuff, off-speed pitches. Ball through both that time, an off-speed curve. Molitor at third, Bando at first, 2 down, bottom of the 2nd. The Brewers by 3 and threatening. The 1 strike pitch to Thomas. Curveball missed. 1-1. The start of a 10-game trip for the Royals. 3 here in Milwaukee, then 4 in Oakland, and 3 in Anaheim against the Angels. Back home to play the A's and the Angels. The 1-1 pitch to Thomas. Bounced up along third, foul. 1-2. The meetings with the A's and the Angels will be the first of the year between the Royals and those 2 ball clubs. One ball, 2 strikes on Gorman Thomas. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Brewers. No runs, 1 hit for the Royals. The Royal hit a single by Al Cowan. Paul has the advantage in the count. The left-hander at the belt, and the 1-2 pitch. Fastball just missed the inside corner. You talk about the guessing game between pitcher and hitter. Paul had thrown him a lot of off-speed stuff, quite a few curveballs, and then Paul, together with Darrell Porter, feeling that Thomas would be looking that way, tried to sneak the fastball on the inside edge, but barely missed. Now the 2-2 pitch. Back to the curve and a line drive into right field. Base hit. Molitor scores. Bando checks in at second, and it's 4-0 Brewers. I'll say this about Gorman Thomas. He didn't try to pull the pitch or fight it. He served it ever so gently over Frank White out into right field. And Thomas drives in his 39th run of the year. 4-0 Brewers on a half a dozen hits. Here's Ben Ogilvie. Ogilvie sent center fielder Amos Otis back to the wall for his long drive in the first. Splittorff's pitch is a curve into the dirt. Ball 1. Well, the Royal bullpen can wait no longer. Eduardo Rodriguez begins to throw. Eddie, a former Brewer. 2 on, 2 out. 1 ball, no strikes. Huge foul off the end of the bat. It rolls into the Royal dugout. 1-1, the count on Ben Ogilvy. It has been a long and tough 2 innings for Paul Splittorff. He has struggled. A ball and a strike. Here's the pitch. Curveball is pulled down the right field line, hooking foul into the seat. Ogilvy did not have a good swing at all. In fact, he broke the bat. He was so far out in front of that slow curve. He hit it right off the end of the bat and sacked it. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Ogilvy. Ben, a former Red Sox outfielder, first baseman. He also played with the Tigers. Ben had a fine season in '78, hitting .303 with 18 home runs, 71 RBIs. He raised 5th in the American League with that .303 average. He was ranked 9th in the league in slugging percentage. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Splittorff checking the runners. Here's the pitch. Into the dirt. Knocked down by Darrell Porter. No advance. Darrell couldn't find it for a second, but then he heard the ball hit behind him and to the left. He made a good play to keep the ball that close to him. It was a tough pitch to handle, a breaking ball into the dirt. A breaking ball in the dirt, much tougher for the catcher than the fastball in the dirt. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Fastball missed outside, 3-2. Now the Brewers will have the additional offensive advantage of having the runners move. Bando with slightly below average speed at first. Gorman Thomas, about average speed. Bando at second, Thomas at first. Frank Howard, the first base coach, barking some instructions. There go the runners. Bouncing ball up the first baseline, foul. Paul made a great pitch that time. He had Ben Ogilvy hopelessly tied up with a pitch right in on the hand. And Ogilvy, a half swing, almost a check swing, just dribbled one up along the first baseline. And fortunately for Ben Ogilvy, the ball just veered off foul. So once again, the runners will be on the move. Bando from second, Gorman Thomas from first. Splittorff ready, and now the 3-2 pitch to Ben Ogilvy. Sharply hit ground ball, but right at Frank White, who bobbles, recovers, and throws out Ben Ogilvy to retire the side. So the Brewers, out of all that, get 1 run on 2 hits. They lead 2, they stranded 4, and after 2 innings in Milwaukee, the Brewers 4, and the Royals nothing. Let's recheck the scoreboard now in the American League. Bobby Grich having quite a night. He's hit 2 home runs so far, the ex-Oriole has, for the California Angels. First one in the 4th, nobody on his 14th. Again, Grich in the 4th with 1 on for the Angels, his 15th of the year. So California leading Detroit 5-2, and 3 of the runs responsible for the big bat of Bobby Grich. Seattle and Cleveland 5 innings. The Indians pouring it on the Mariners 9-2, 6.5. Toronto 4, Oakland nothing. Nothing further on Boston, Chicago. 1 inning of play. The White Sox lead the Bo Sox by a score of 2-1. National League scoreboard: 4 innings. Houston 1, Montreal 1. 4.5. Mets 1, Braves nothing. 3.5. Cincinnati leading Philadelphia 4-3. And of course, later starts, as we mentioned, Chicago at San Diego, Pittsburgh at Los Angeles, and St. Louis at San Francisco. The Minnesota Twins today reactivated third baseman Mike Caldwell, who's been on the disabled list for the bad back since May 28th. Caldwell resides in off-season in Charlottesville, Virginia. He played some high school ball in Charlottesville, which is not too far from Washington, D.C., and was also quite a football player. To make room for coverage on the roster, infielder Dan Graham was optioned to Toledo of the AAA International League. Graham had only 4 at-bats with the Twins. And the Milwaukee Brewers announced tonight they're sending relief pitcher Lance Rosen to their AAA farm club in Vancouver. The Brewers reduced their roster to 24, leaving 1 spot open in anticipation of the return of Don Money, who's out with a pulled hamstring. We played 2 innings at County Stadium, Milwaukee. The Brewers lead the Royals 4-0. 4 runs, 6 hits, no errors for Milwaukee. The Royals, no runs, 1 hit, and no errors. Frank White, Fred Potek, Willie Wilson coming up against Mike Caldwell. And here's Fred. All right, thank you, Danny. The Royals are going to have to get some offense if they're going to stay in it. Paul Splittorff, having been rocked the first 2 innings, still in the ballgame, trying to find himself. But the Royals need to produce something. White, a .284 hitter. Right-handed batter in. First pitch to him, misses, ball one. Frank's average is at .284, 3 homers, dozen RBIs. It's a high pop foul back to the plate. Charlie Moore to take a look, but he doesn't have a play. And the count's even, 1 ball, 1 strike. Frank just back in action after missing 32 games with a broken hand. A couple of games against Boston under his belt. It was first thought that this would be the first time he'd play. So the Royals' injuries are healing up now. If Al McRae could return. So if they can get their pitching woes straightened out, maybe they can get everything all turned around. They've struggled of late. The Royals have won but 2 of their last 10 ball games. The pitch, Frank started a bunt, takes a pitch outside, ball 2, 2-1. Well, it's early in this one. We'll see. Allen's got the Royals' only hit off Mike Caldwell in the first 2 innings. The pitch to Frank White, a sharp shot down to the third baseman. Sal Bando throws him out. Bando to his left a step or 2. Throws out Frank White. Now here's Fred Patek, a .236 hitter. Missed a couple of ball games with a sore leg. He's back in action. Pitch to him. Ball high, ball 1. Mike Caldwell doesn't walk many men. He's around the plate all the time. The pitch is the outside corner. Now 2-0 to Freddie. One of the few times Caldwell's really been behind a hitter. Willie Wilson next. If anybody gets on, George Brett. 2-0 pitch. Strike called, and it's 2-1. Freddie taking. A 3-run first inning home run by Sal Bando, the big blow in the ball game. Here's the pitch. Hot shot headed for left. Robin Yount can't get there. Base hit. So Freddie Patek singles. And now Willie Wilson, who has got on a fly ball to left his first time up. The Royals have their second hit of the ball game. Willie taking a look down at Chuck Hiller, his third base coach, before he steps in. Willie and Chuck can't get together. Every time Willie looks, Chuck's looking the other way. Chuck gives signs, and Willie's not looking. Bando shortened up at third. The outfield playing Willie straight away. You can see the outfield in the American League starting to show Willie a little bit more respect. The pitch to him. Swung and missed. Early in the year, they all played him very, very shallow, but now they've retreated to normal depth. One strike to Wilson. Charlie Moore puts down a sign. Caldwell's ready. Left-hander's pitch. Ball is low, and the count evens out 1-1. Caldwell tugs at his cap. Picks up the sign. Here's the stretch and the pitch. Ball inside. Breaking stuff missed. 2 balls and a strike to Willie. The beginning of a 10-game road trip for the Royals. 3 here in Milwaukee, 4 in Oakland, 3 in Anaheim. Well, you realize this will be the first meeting this year between the Royals and the A's and the Royals and the Angels. Ground ball past third. 2-2 the count now. Willie got one fouled off. Well, you would think that the Royals, the A's, and the Angels weren't even in the same league, let alone the same division. They will have played 65 games by the time they see the A's. 69 by the time they see the Angels. And 69 games is only a dozen shy of being half a season. Ron Luciano at first fiddling around is now done, and we're ready to play again. Here's the stretch. 2-2 pitch. Ball outside, and a full count. 3-2 to Willie Wilson. And Caldwell, very consistent at throwing strikes. 3-2 now with Willie. He doesn't want to walk him to get Brett to the plate. It's 4-0 Brewers. Here's the stretch. Now the pitch. There goes Patek. The pitch fouled off. Still a full count, 3-2. So the Royals had Freddie Patek on the move. Now Caldwell walks off the mound, goes to his mouth for a moment, steps right back up. Cooper trying to hold Patek at first. He's aboard with one out. We're in the top of the third. Here's the stretch. The pitch again. Patek not running, and a high fly ball. Well hit to left center, but Gorman Thomas is over there. Brings it down, and there are 2 men gone. Willie hit it well, but he's out. Patek at first with 2 out now for George Brett. George hit the ball hard, but lined to right his first time up. A .330 hitter. He was but 1 for 10 against Milwaukee and Kansas City in a 3-game series, so he's just 1 for 11 against the Brewers right now. He undoubtedly feels as if he owes them a few hits. Left-hander against left-hander, Caldwell and Brett. Patek a lead at first, the stretch in the pitch. Shot foul by Brett, 1 strike the count. After 3, the Phillies leading Cincinnati 3-1. After 5, Houston won, Montreal won. California leading Detroit 5-3 after 4 in Detroit. Toronto 5, Oakland nothing after 7. Cleveland 9, Seattle 2 after 5 innings. White Sox in front of Boston 2-1 after an inning. The pitch here to Brett. Breaking ball for a strike, and George in the hole 0-2. The Yankees and the Rangers are tied 1-1 after 4, and Baltimore leading Minnesota 1-0 after 3. Caldwell with working room now. 0-2 the count. Here's the stretch and the pitch. Way low and outside. The count's 1 ball, 2 strikes to George. Since the 1st of May, George Brett has been one of the hottest hitters in all of baseball. Oh, he just came to life. 1-2 pitch on the way. Line in left field. It's a foul ball, just barely. George had a twisting line drive over third that looked like it was going to drop in fair territory. But at the last moment, it twisted foul. So it cost Brett extra bases. It might have cost the Royals a run. Still 1-2, and George. A long walk back to the plate to try it again. Amos Otis in the on-deck circle, hopeful of hitting if Brett gets aboard. George talking to the plate umpire, Bill Haller, taking a look out where the ball landed. Now Brett back in, and Caldwell again lets to Charlie Moore for a sign. Patek the lead at first. Here's the stretch, the 1-2 pitch. Ball outside, and the count evens out 2-2. Caldwell in no hurry with a man on base. He has slowed down considerably. Now he's ready. Here's the stretch and the 2-2 pitch to George Brett. He breaks contact instead. Patek does not have a big lead at the moment. Pitch to Brett. Ground ball to second. Molitor has it on the big hop. Throws to first, and the inning's over. Brett out second to first. So the Royals unite in the top of the third. No runs a hit. They leave a man, and we go to the bottom of the third. It's still the Brewers 4 and the Royals nothing. All right, slow game so far at Milwaukee's County Stadium. How about this score now? We just got something in on the Western Union ticker in the AAA International League. The Rochester Red Wings and the Toledo Mud Hens. They played 7 innings, and we're trying to figure on the computer the score. Rochester had 9 in the first, 9 in the second, 9 in the third, 2 in the fourth, 9 in the fifth, 9 in the sixth, 9 in the seventh. And the old Rochester Red Wing, our engineer, Chief Bartlett, going wild in the control room. But hold it, Ralph. Hold it. Sit down. Toledo, 9 in the first, 9 in the second, 9 in the third, 2 in the fourth, 9 in the fifth, 1 in the sixth, and 9 in the seventh. So it's
Rochester 56, Toledo 48. So now Chief Bartlett is kind of a little concerned now about whether they can hold him off or not. Chief Bartlett, the honorary mayor of the city of Rochester. And he's winging it, of course, there in the control room for AFRTS tonight. Let's check some more scores. And we'll check back in that wild ball game, 56-48, and see if I'm sure a typographical error somewhere over either that or they've got the Little League pitchers in there. California, Detroit, 4.5 innings of play. The Angels, 5. The Tigers, 3. New York and Texas after 4.5. It's all tied up. The Yankees won. The Rangers won. Baltimore, Minnesota. They sent his home run in the 5th inning. The Orioles now lead Minnesota by a score of 2-0. Bottom of the third, 4-0 Milwaukee. We owe you a station break. We'll get to it as quickly as we can here. Splittorff's first pitch to Sixto Lezcano. Foul back out of play, and we'll take it right here. We'll pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Royals Baseball Network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
The Brewers have Lezcano, Yap, and Dick Davis scheduled to hit here in the bottom of the third. Pitch low into the dirt, 1-1. They have raked Paul Splittorff for 4 runs and 6 hits over the first 2 innings. Split battling to get things turned around. Throws the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball for a strike. Curve well thrown, and it's 1-2. Lezcano walked his first time up. A .320 hitter with 8 home runs. Pitch to him. Fastball outside, 2-2. The outfield shaded towards left against the right-handed hitting Lezcano. Off-speed pitch, misses away, and a full count, 3-2. And Paul Splittorff continues to throw a lot of pitches. He missed his last start because of the flu. He's having problems with control here tonight. 3-2 pitch, high foul ball, backing out of play. Porter and George Scott chasing it, but it's well into the seats. They've had an incident at Shea Stadium in New York. Atlanta pitcher Phil Niekro was hit in the head with a pitch ball, was forced to leave the game. No action has been taken against Met pitcher Craig Swan, but Atlanta manager Bobby Cox charged the mound and had to be restrained. He was not ejected from the game. The Mets are leading Atlanta 1-0, and Phil Niekro hit in the head with a pitch has left that ball game. 3-2 pitch to Lezcano is low, ball 4. So Paul Splittorff features his third walk. He has walked the leadoff man here in the bottom of the third. Now here comes Robin Yount, who singled his first time up. You know, Pabst Beer is in a leg all by itself because Pabst is brewed naturally. You can taste it. George Scott paying a visit to the mound to talk to Paul Splittorff. So the Brewers up 4-0, get their leadoff man aboard here in the third. Now Robin Yount in the batter's box. Paul Splittorff picks up the sign from Porter. Checks Lezcano at first. Here's the pitch. High foul ball on the plate on the right field side. 1 strike to count. Ready again. Now the pitch. Yount takes inside. The count evens out 1-1. Well, the White Sox pounding Boston. It's now 7-2 in the bottom of the third. Jim Rice hit his 13th home run. For the Red Sox in the third with nobody on, but Chicago scored 5 in the second. There's a little tap back to the mound. Splittorff looks at second, but he's only played at first. In time on a close play, they get Robin Yount. The play goes 1-3. Lezcano moves to second. And now Dick Davis, the designated hitter, the number 8 hitter in the lineup, who's grounded to third his first time up. They're in the bottom of the 5th in Detroit, California, leading Detroit 5-2. Bottom of the 5th in Texas. Yankees 1, Texas 1. Top of the 5th in Minnesota. The Orioles 1. Twins nothing. Davis, a right-handed batter in. Splittorff set. Here's the pitch. Strike on the inside corner. Davis giving ground, but Split picked up the inside corner. 4-0 Brewers, the bottom of the third. Lezcano at second with 1 out.
Here's the pitch. Ball inside, 1-1. Dennis Leonard throwing in the bullpen again tonight. Now Rodriguez is up throwing. Dennis Leonard has been throwing along with Paul Splittorff. When Split is pitching, Leonard gets up and throws the bullpen. He did that when Steve Busby pitched against Boston. He's hopeful of getting a start in Oakland, but he's not sure right now. 2-1 the count to Davis now. Porter puts down a sign. Paul Splittorff is set. Here's the stretch in the pitch. High fly ball, center field. Amos Otis drifting in. Under it now, makes the catch, and there are 2 men gone. So Davis out on a fly ball to center. And now Split will work to the number 9 hitter, Charlie Moore. He was called out on strikes his first time up. His average when this game began, 362. A homer and 15 RBIs. So Charlie Moore has been swinging a hot bat all year for Milwaukee. Lescano the lead at second. Splittorff off the stretch. First pitch to Charlie Moore on the way. High fly ball to deep left field. Back goes Willie Wilson to the corner. He leaps, and it is gone. Home run. And it's 6-0 Milwaukee. Charlie Moore hits his second home run of the year. The Brewers' second of the ball game. Whitey Herzog very reluctantly out of the dugout points to the bullpen, and he's going to bring in Eduardo Rodriguez. So the last thing on earth that Whitey Herzog wanted tonight, a quick exit for his starting pitcher, is happening. Paul Splittorff battled, but he never could find his stuff. And he leaves in the bottom of the third down 6-0. There are 2 out, nobody on. The leadoff man, Paul Molitor, will hit Rodriguez from the bullpen with a score again. Milwaukee 6, the Royals 7. Altercation, or close to it, in a game tonight at Montreal between the Astros and the Montreal Expos. Bill Niekro was hit on the head with a pitch ball, was forced to leave the game in the 6th inning. No action was taken against Mets pitcher Craig Swan. Atlanta manager Bobby Cox charged the mound, had to be restrained, but was not ejected. Out of action, not much hitting, but little extracurricular activity out there at the Expos Stadium. It's 1-1 after 5 innings play. Latest National League figures show the Philadelphia Phillies, Cincinnati Reds, Los Angeles Dodgers, and Pittsburgh Pirates hold all the top spots for the All-Star voting. 3 of the leading infield vote-getters are Phillies' Pete Rose at first, Larry Bowe at shortstop, and Mike Schmidt at third. Johnny Bench of the Reds has moved into the number 1 position among catchers, 11,000 votes ahead of Ted Simmons of the Cardinals. Bench has started every All-Star game since fan balloting returned in 1970. Davey Lopes of the Los Angeles Dodgers has a 30,000 vote lead over Cincinnati's Joe Morgan at second base. The 3 leading vote getters in the outfield are Philadelphia's Greg Lazinski, Pittsburgh's Dave Parker, and Cincinnati's George Foster. Montreal and Houston are in first place in the Eastern and Western divisions of the league, but neither has a player higher than 5th in the voting. Eduardo Rodriguez out of the bullpen. It is 6-0 Milwaukee. We're just in the bottom of the third, and getting to give you an idea why Whitey Herzog's so reluctant to give an idea why, or what kind of shape the Royals pitching staff is in. Here comes Ed Rodriguez. And just 2 nights ago, Eduardo Rodriguez worked 5 1/3 innings against the Red Sox. The 2 days before that, he had pitched 2 2/3 innings against the Yankees, and just 2 days before that, he had gone 3 1/3. So Whitey Herzog, very reluctant to use him early here tonight, is forced to do exactly that. And I guess you'd have to say that the Royals bullpen is pretty well shattered right now, and Paul Splittorff just couldn't give him very much here this evening. He had missed his last start with the flu, and it was pretty obvious from the onset that he did not have his stuff tonight. The Brewers got to him for 7 hits, 6 runs, a 3-run homer by Bando, a 2-run homer by Charlie Moore. And the Royals are buried in the 3rd inning here, and they're going to have to crawl out of a deep, deep hole if they're going to do any good here tonight. And then you really have to wonder where the answer is. It's obviously going to be from the starting pitchers. getting a couple of good turns and giving the bullpen some rest. And pitchers being like hitters go into slumps, but you have to hope they get it turned around pretty soon, huh? There's very little that Whitey can do. There's very little that we can say. You just have to, sounds trite, but battle your way out of it. There's no answers. You just have to go out there and throw strikes. Hope your defense can get the job done for you. If you can't, then you don't win. It's just that simple. There is another item that hasn't been talked about very much. The Bears mentioning Royals defense is next to last in the American League. But you also have to stop and think that George Brett played injured. Frank White was out for a number of games. Freddie Potek missed a lot of ball games. Al Cowens missed a lot of ball games. So there was not really the pure Royal defense out there, and that statistic could be a little bit misleading. At any rate, Ed Rodriguez in the ball game now, and he may be a bit weary. Again, just 2 days ago, he went 5 in the third inning. And you have to wonder how much he can give the Royals here tonight. Molitor steps in. He has singled twice and scored twice. Stolen 2 bases. Rodriguez to Molitor. Goes it right on by Darrell Porter. Ball 1. Eduardo, a former Brewer, working against his old teammate. The pitch to Paul Molitor. Ball misses 2-0. 6-0 Milwaukee, and we're just in the bottom of the third. Here's the 2-0 delivery. Ball 3-0. Rodriguez misses with his first 3 pitches. Now Darrell Porter is walking to the mound. He wants to talk to Eduardo Rodriguez. Whitey Herzog still with question marks about tomorrow. It's still listing either Marty Patton or Steve Busby against Jim Clayton. As you know, pulled a groin muscle in that tremendous outing against the Red Sox. 3-0 pitch to Molitor here. Strike call is 3-1. Here's the pitch. Molitor fouls one back out of play. Full count, 3-2. My goodness, this game's been going for an hour and 15 minutes, and we're only in the bottom of the third. How much offense the Brewers have had. 3-2 pitch, foul back again. Now the ticker has run a correction. Atlanta manager Bobby Cox was ejected from the ball game because of his confrontation with Met pitcher Craig Swan after Swan hit Phil Niekro in the head with a pitch. Now Jeff Burrows is homered for the Braves in the 7th with nobody on, and they're tied 1-1. Pitch to Molitor again, a slow roller up long third. George Brett charging, pulls it out of his glove late, can't get it. Molitor safe. Hit for Paul Molitor is a slow bouncer up third. George may not have been able to get him anyway, but he had trouble getting the ball out of his glove, and it cost him whatever chance he might have had. Johnny Bench is homer for the Reds in the 5th inning with a man on, his 5th home run of the year. Cincinnati 6, Philadelphia 3 now in the 5th. Cam Summers has homered for Detroit in the 5th with nobody on, his 3rd. The Tigers have gone in front of the Angels 6-5 in Detroit. Rodriguez ready. First pitch in to Cecil Cooper, misses, ball 1. 8 hits now for Milwaukee. Eduardo Rodriguez off his stretch to pitch. Strike on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cooper is single. He's down on a fly ball to right. A .295 hitter with 11 home runs. So the first runner back. Milwaukee with a lot of bombers on this ball club. They're tied with the Boston Red Sox for the league leadership in home runs. Pitch outside, misses, 2-1. The Brewers have hit 67 home runs this year. The Royals, by contrast, 41. Molitor edging away at first very safely. The pitch swung and missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Cecil Cooper. Well, the early indications that the Royals are in for a long night here at County Stadium. Still a long, long way to go. They face a toughie in Mike Caldwell. Pitch grounded foul past first. But remember back just a few short days ago when Tommy John and the Yankees had the Royals down 5-0 in the middle of a ball game, and Royals came back and won that one. Two balls, two strikes. Cooper waiting. Rodriguez pitch. Shot fouled again. The count remains 2-2. Porter through the signs. Eddie Rodriguez at the belt. The pitch again. Foul back out of play again. So now Cooper and Rodriguez in quite a battle here. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Again, Molitor at first with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Fouled it off again. So Cooper won't give, neither will Ed Rodriguez. Bill Hanna, the plate umpire, chased that ball halfway to the Royal dugout, then gave it back to Rodriguez. Now Ed's set to work again. Rodriguez at the belt. Again the 2-2 pitch. Again it's fouled back. Below it. That ball came rolling up the screen and hit somewhere under our booth. Something's going to have to give pretty soon. Now Cooper steps out a moment. He might be getting arm weary. He's had a lot of swings up there this time. Now the pitch. There's a drive to deep center field. Back goes Azotis with room. He's there. He's got it. And the inning is over. But the Brewers scored 2 more runs. 2 hits. They left a man. And after 3, Milwaukee 6, the Royals nothing. Game over in the American League at Toronto. Tom Underwood hurled a 5-hitter to snap a personal 15-game losing streak. And Rico Carty doubled home 1 run and scored 2 others to spark the Toronto Blue Jays to a 6-0 victory over the Oakland A's. Underwood now 1-9, struck out 1, walked 1, while not allowing an Oakland runner past second base. The left-hander's last victory came on August 8, 1978, against the Baltimore Orioles. Atlanta knuckleballer Phil Niekro was removed from Friday night's game against the New York Mets after being hit in the head by Craig Swan's fastball. The incident precipitated a bench and bullpen clearing altercation between home plate and the pitcher's mound when Atlanta manager Bobby Cox had words with Swan. Niekro went to the ground after the pitch, but seconds later was up and walking around. Pitcher Buddy Solomon was inserted as a pinch runner after a 10-minute delay, and Joe McLaughlin took over on the mound for Niekro in the 6th. The pitch may have been in retaliation of a Niekro brushback of Swan in the 5th when the New York pitcher squared the bunt with 1 out and runners at first and second. Niekro's first pitch was a high fastball to hit Swan's bat as the Met pitcher tried to avoid being hit by the pitch. And Toronto Blue Jays third baseman Roy Howe is in place on the 15-day disabled list. He cut his right-hand base running the other night when he tried to break up a double play in a game against the California Angels. To the 4th we go. Milwaukee 6, the Royals nothing. It'll be Amos Otis, Al Cowens, and George Scott for the Royals. Amos has been struggling at the plate lately. He has but 7 hits in his last 43 at-bats. His average has dipped under 300. He was 298 when the game began. Grounded out to the pitcher his first time up tonight. He hit Mike Caldwell extremely well last year. Otis last season, 5 for 9 with a home run against Mike Caldwell. First pitch to Amos. A pretty good catch, and he missed. 1 strike to count. Otis knocked some dirt out of his spikes. Caldwell looks to Moore for a sign. The left-hander winding, and here comes the pitch. Strike called. 0-2 to Otis. problem Sweaty Herzog has right now is they don't hand out magic wands anymore. If so, he could just wave the magic wand and all the pitching woes and all the other woes would be cured. Injured players would be well. It just doesn't work like that. Pitch outside, 1-2. So all he can do is hope that his pitchers can pitch their way out of it, that his hitters can produce, the defense plays, and Royals get it going again. Ground ball headed for left. Robin Yount backhand, deep in the hole, long through. Otis beat it. He's safe. A base hit for Amos Otis to start the Royals half of the fourth. The one thing you have to look at, two things really. Number one, the Royals are very much in the race. They're only 4 games back. Number two, after tonight, there are 99 games left in this season. The one thing they cannot do is hit the panic button. This is the same pitching staff that pitched the Royals to 3 divisional titles in a row. Basically the same ball club that won them. It would be foolish to panic. Pitch to Al Cowens now. Ball low. About all they can do is be patient with themselves, ask their fans to be patient. Who knows, maybe when the Royals come off this road trip, maybe things will have begun to turn around. Maybe not, but time will tell. Stretched by Caldwell, the pitch. High fly ball, shallow right. Out goes Molitor, the second baseman, calling for it. Backpedaling to make the catch. Cowens pops to second. Otis holds at first, and here now George Scott, who drove Gorman Thomas to the wall in center field his first time up. Well, the Texas Rangers have dropped a big inning on the Yankees. Texas scored 8 times in the 5th. And the Rangers now leading the Yankees 9-1 after 5. Denny, it should be noted that George Steinbrenner joined the Yankees in Minnesota. He is making that trip to Texas with the ball club. They have not been doing it all well of late. First the pitch to Scott. Lined into right field. It's going to drop for a base hit. Otis holds at second, and George Scott is aboard with his first hit in a Royal uniform. So the Boomer's been up twice tonight. He's hit it hard 2 times. But noteworthy that George Steinbrenner is with the Yankees in Texas, and you have to wonder about the future. And specifically the future of Bob Lemon, to be quite frank about it, as the manager of New York. How long has it been since George had his name in the newspaper? It's been a while, so something might give there. Porter now the hitter. Well, the Royals down 6-0. If somebody could yank one out of here, they'd be back in the ballgame. Darrell grounded into a force out his first time up, 296 with 7 home runs. The numbers for Darrell Porter, the pitch. Ground ball, shot foul, pass first. 1 strike to Porter. Royals now with 4 hits. John Watson in the on-deck circle will be next, barring the double play. Probably one thing the Royals were very glad to see right there was George Scott going the other way. There are those who will tell you that the stroke he was using because of Fenway was what was keeping his average down. So conscious of that wall in Fenway was Scott that he was trying to pull the ball consistently. That time he went the other way and hit a wicket line drive. Ball on a strike now to Porter. Caldwell with a sign from Charlie Moore. Left-hander's ready. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball inside, 2-1. Doug DeCinces is homered for Baltimore in the 5th, but nobody on his 5th. The Orioles leading Minnesota 2-0. Toronto 6, Oakland nothing after 8. Cleveland continues to wail on Seattle. 11-2 in the bottom of the 6th in Cleveland. The Indians lead the Mariners. Now the stretch, the 2-1 pitch to Darrell Porter. Bouncer, foul, pass first. Let's pause 10 seconds here. Station identification on the Royals Baseball Network. back. The count 2-2 on Darrell Porter. Otis at second. Scott at first with one out. We're in the top of the fourth. Milwaukee leading 6-0. Mike Caldwell fidgeting around on the mound. Now getting set. Here's the stretch, the 2-2 pitch on the way. Porter swings and lines one up the middle. Base hit center field. Otis around third, headed for home. Scott stops at second. Porter holds at first with a single. And Darrell has driven in his 49th run of the year. And the Royals are on the scoreboard here at County Stadium. It's now 6-1 Milwaukee. And John Watson now headed for the plate. In now, Caldwell breaking contact. 3 hits in the inning. The Royals now have 5 hits in the ball game. Caldwell again breaks contact. Here's the pitch. Ball outside, ball 1. Frank White next. If Watson can get a base hit here, he could set up what could be a pretty big inning for the Royals. Duke set. Caldwell ready. Here's the pitch. Swung and fouled off, and the count evens out, a ball and a strike. Watson waiting while Caldwell reads signs. Here's the pitch. Ball inside and low, 2-1. Royals trying to get their offense cranked up here. Down by 5 runs at the moment. Charlie Moore puts down a sign. Left-hander Mike Caldwell set the 2-1 pitch. Watson swings at the ground ball to second. Might be 2. Second base 1. Back to first. Double. Wild throw. Here comes Scott to score. Watson headed for second base. The throw went into the Milwaukee dugout. And it's now a 6-2 ball game. I said ground ball to second. I meant ground ball to third. Sal Bando came up with it, made the throw to second. The Molitor's relay went on into the Milwaukee dugout. So the play goes 5-4. An error for Watson at second base now. Another run home. It's now a 6-2 ball game. And here's Frank White. Scott scores. Darrell Porter out on the fourth out. John Watson does not get an RBI on the play. And now here's Frank. White grounded to third his first time up, and a base hit here would cut the Brewer lead in half. 2 runs home in the inning. The pitch. Line down the left field line, but it's hooking and foul. Oh, White hit it hard, but foul. That one was extra bases. And all of a sudden, the Royal bat's starting to make some noise. If Frank White gets aboard, Fred Potek will hit in the inning. White waiting, Caldwell reading the signs again. Now the stretch, here's the pitch. Ground ball to second base. Molitor has it. Flips to first, and the inning's over. So White out second to first, but in the inning, the Royals scored 2. 3 hits, an error, and a man left. And we go now to the bottom of the fourth. Milwaukee 6, and the Royals 2. Well, we have a correction now on the ticker on that game that we mentioned a while ago. And the AAA, Rochester and Toledo. The score is 56-48 after 7, the Red Wings. Final score, Toledo defeated Rochester by a score of 6-4. Late finishing Larry Nelson equaled the best round of the tournament today with a 3-under par 68 to share the second round lead with Tom Perger at the U.S. Open Golf Championship. But Tom Watson and Jack Nicklaus played themselves out of contention. Nelson moved into the lead by himself with a birdie on the 16th hole, but he bogeyed number 17 to fall back into a tie with Perger at 3-under par 139.
Herger started early and shot a fine 69. Though he claimed he didn't deserve his possession, his name stood alone on the leaderboard for some 6 hours before Nelson caught him. Former Open champ Hale Irwin matched Nelson's round of 68 to move into third place at 142, making himself the only other player in the field of 153 to match par for 36 holes. So Bill Rogers is one more stroke back at 143 following a 72. Watson opened his round with a triple bogey and never did recover. He added a double bogey and 5 bogeys to wind up with a 6-over par 77 and a 2-round score of 152. Nicklaus didn't fare any better with 4 bogeys and a double bogey on his first 7 holes. The Golden Bears settled for 77. That left him at 151. Bottom of the 4th, County Stadium, Milwaukee. The Brewers lead the Royals 6-2. It'll be Sal Bando, Gorman Thomas, and Ben Ogilvie, the heart of the order, the numbers 3, 4, and 5 hitters. For Milwaukee, Ed Rodriguez back to the mound. Milwaukee 6 runs, 8 hits. The Royals 2 runs on 5 hits. Rodriguez to Bando misses high, ball 1. Ed out of the bullpen in the third, gave up a single to Paul Molitor, then got Cecil Cooper on a fly ball to end the inning. And he's back now for round 4. The wind, the pitch to Sal Bando on the way. Swung and missed. Count evens out 1-1. Bando hit a 3-run homer in the first and then walked in the second. He has the big blow in the ball game so far. Charlie Moore, a 2-run homer for Milwaukee. Pitch missing from Rodriguez, now 2 balls and a strike. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Strike on the inside corner. The count evens out 2-2. Rodriguez trying to retire the leadoff man here in the bottom of the 4th. The pitch. Just missed outside. A full count 3-2. Bando had a notion but checked his swing. Sal's average when the night began, 228. Ground ball hit it for left. Base hit. Sal Bando aboard with a single. And the Brewer hit parade continues. Their 9th base hit tonight. In 3 of the 4 innings we played, the Brewers have had their leadoff man aboard, and they've been cashing them. Here's Gorman Thomas. He's grounded out in single, driven in a run. Thomas, the center fielder, hitting in the number 4 spot in the lineup tonight. California's caught Detroit. They're now tied 6-6 after 6 innings. Strike on the outside corner. 1 strike to Gorman Thomas. Ed Rodriguez, who has been used a lot lately, pitching with very little rest, is trying to hold things together for the Royals. Swing and a miss by Thomas. 2 strikes to count. He would be very doubtful at this point that Ed Rodriguez could finish the ball game. Having gone 5 1/3 just 2 days ago. His task right now, just keep the Royals in it through the middle part of the ball game. See what the offense can produce. Stretched by Rodriguez a bit. High towering fly to left. Willie Wilson coming in, still moving in under it. Now makes the catch and there's 1 away. Thomas out on the fly ball to the left. Bando holds it first. He's there with 1 out. And here now Ben Ogilvie, who's been out on a fly ball deep to center and grounded to second. Royal fans here tonight. Robert and
and Leanne Stefanik from Atchison, Kansas, who are on a bicycling trip to Canada. Want to say hello to their friends back in Atchison. I have yet to figure out if they're on a bicycle trip to Canada, how they happen to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin tonight. Unless they have moved Milwaukee, Wisconsin to the heartland of Canada somehow. Maybe they're on their way up there. Cecil Cooper takes one and misses, ball one. The pitch again to Cecil Cooper, misses outside. Two balls, no strikes. The final, Toronto 6, Oakland nothing. Tom Underwood got his first win of the year. He broke the losing streak. He's now 1-9. Hamilton, the loser, 2-1. Bobby Baylor got the game-winning RBI. Ken Landreau is homer for the Twins in the sixth with nobody on. His sixth home run of the year. It's Baltimore 2, Minnesota 1 now. Ball 4 to Cecil Cooper. Or rather, Ben Ogilvie, I'm sorry. Ogilvie draws the base on balls. The first walk given by Rodriguez. So now runners at first and second, just one out. And the Brewers, who have scored in every inning, threaten to score again. They got 3 on Sal Bando's home run in the first. They scored a run in the second. Then 2 on Charlie Moore's home run in the third. And now runners at first and second, just one out. And here's Sixto Lezcano, who has walked twice tonight. Lezcano, a .320 hitter. Rodriguez ready to pitch. Ball 1. And Ed Rodriguez having trouble locating home plate now. Rodriguez pitch. Strike called and the count evens out 1-1. Sixto Lezcano out of the batter's box a moment, steps back in. Order with a sign to pitch. Swing and a miss. Lezcano after a breaking ball. It's 1-2. Eddie Rodriguez trying to keep the Royals afloat here. They're down 6-2 in the bottom of the fourth. And the Brewers threatening again here. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Line in the right field. It's going to fall for a base hit. Bando around third is going to score. Al Callen bobbles the ball. And now Ogilvie's at third base. Lezcano holds at first and it's 7-2 Milwaukee. Lezcano a little looper to right. He drives in his 39th run of the year. No error charged. Al Callen's on the play. Cooper was headed for third, so now runners at first and third. And the Brewers keep alive that string of having scored in every inning. Now Robin Yount will hit. He is singled and grounded out to the pitcher. Well, game is an hour and 40 minutes old, and we are only in the bottom of the fourth. It is 7-2 Brewers. They have 10 hits. The Royals have 5. Still just one out in the bottom of the fourth. The pitch. This is inside, ball 1. Steve Mangori now throwing in the Royal bullpen. Porter puts down a sign. Here's the pitch. Strike on the inside corner. The count evens out 1-1. Dick Davis in the on-deck circle. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Inside, gets away from Porter. The runners can't advance. Now 2 balls and a strike. And it's understandable. Now beginning to struggle. Now the 2-1 pitch.
Ball inside, 3-1. So Eduardo having problems with his control. 2 singles and a walk and produced 1 run. Now 3 balls and a strike to Robin Yount, the dangerous hitter. The pitch, swung and missed. Full count, 3-2. And we'll see if the Brewers have a mind to send Sixto Lezcano. Ogilvie at third, Lezcano at first with 1 out. Here's the 3-2 pitch. The runner is going. It's ball 4 inside. The bases are loaded. Now Galen Cisco headed for the mound to talk to his pitcher. Well, you talk about a fellow that's not enjoying life at all these days. Along with Whitey Herzog, the rest of the Royals, Galen Cisco is suffering as much as anyone. He's like a father to the Royal pitching staff. And well, when they hurt, he hurt. And right now they're hurting, so he's hurting too. Bases loaded, 1 out. Dick Davis, the hitter, he is grounded out. He's been out on a fly ball. Brewers in front, 7-2. They were in front 6-0. The Royals got 2 of them back, but now 1 more is scored. Here's the pitch. Fouled on a play, 1 strike. The Royals have pitched Dick Davis extremely well. He's 1 for 14 against Royal pitching this year. Ball, 1 strike to Dick Davis now as Rodriguez misses. Rodriguez pitch. High fly ball. Deep left field. Back goes Willie. Grand slam home run. It is 11-2 Milwaukee. First pitch, ball 1. Home run number 5 for Dick Davis. Boy, you talk about getting whacked. Royal pitching has been doing exactly that the last few ball games. Strike called and it's 1-1. Night before last, the Royals gave up 3 home runs, 1 of them a grand slam. The same thing here tonight. The pitch, ground ball up the middle. Knocked down by Frank White. Potek picked it up, throws it, they got him. Play by the middle defense of the Royals. Frank White got a glove on the ball, deflected it toward the shortstop, Fred Potek. Potek was moving to second, toward second, and he came up with it and throws out Charlie Moore. It'll be 4-6-3 the way the play is scored. So now 2 men out. And here's Paul Molitor, who is already 3 for 3 in this game, and we're only in the 4th inning. Pitch to him, line to right field. Out goes Frank White. Molitor 4 for 4. A dozen hits now for Milwaukee. They have a 2-run homer, a 3-run homer, a grand slam home run. They're still batting in the 4th, and they already have 11 runs on 12 hits. The Brewers have had 17 base runners in 4 innings. It's foul back.
Cooper, the hitter. The pitch. Ball high, 1-1. Molitor's 4 for 4. Cooper tonight 1 for 3. He's 11-2 Milwaukee in the bottom of the 4th. Here's the pitch. Ball outside, 2-1. Rodriguez delivers again and gets a strike on the outside corner. The count evens out 2-2. Cleveland beats Seattle 13-3 tonight. The Mets have gone in front of Atlanta 2-1. Atlanta batting the top of the 9th in New York. Swing and a foul tip held by Porter, and the inning is over as Cooper strikes out. But the Brewers get 5 runs. There were 4 hits. A man left. After 4, it's Milwaukee 11, the Royals 2. Let's check the scoreboard. Lots of games going. And the games on the West Coast about to start. One is already underway. That's Chicago at San Diego, Pittsburgh and Los Angeles, and St. Louis and San Francisco are about to set. National League games underway after 8. Houston won, Montreal won, Atlanta at New York after 8. The Mets lead the Braves 2-1. Cincinnati at Philadelphia after 7. The Reds 6, the Phillies 3. Bench a home run, his 5th of the year, for the Reds in the 5th with 1 on. American League scoreboard. Final, Toronto beat Oakland 6-0. We mentioned that a while ago. 6-12-0 for the Blue Jays, 0-5-2 for the A's. Underwood, the winner, his first win of the year. He's 1-9. Hamilton, the loser, 2-1. Attendance at Toronto, Canada, 13,124. Cleveland has just beaten Seattle 13-3. Indians line score 13-19-1. Mariners 3-8-2. Jones a home run for Seattle in the 4th. None on his 14th of the year. California, Detroit after 6.5. The Angels have scored a run at the top of the 7th. They lead Sparky Anderson's Tigers 7-6. Lots of homers in the game. Gritch has 2 for the Angels, his 14th and 15th of the year. Thompson, Tigers, 5th, 1 on his 6th of the year. Summers, Detroit, 5th, nobody on his 3rd. And Landsberg just hit 1 for California in the 7th, nobody on his 7th of the year. 5.5 innings to play. Chicago 7, Boston 2. After 6, Baltimore leads Minnesota 2-1. And after 6.5, Texas 9. New York 1. 8 runs for the Rangers against the Yankees. Home pitch. Goodbye to Louis Tiant. We have played 4 at County Stadium. Milwaukee 11, the Royals 2. Freddie Patek will lead it off. And Pete LeCoq has hit it for the Royals bullpen, and we may see something here before this night's over that we haven't seen before. Tell you about the ball game and perhaps a bit more about that. Here's inning. Hi, Fred. Freddie Patek leading off. Fred has the single in the game. He's 1 out of 1. Pete LeCoq, unbeknownst to most, has one of, and I'm serious about this, one of the very fine knuckleballs I have ever seen a baseball player throw on the sideline. Mike Caldwell's pitch to Patek is inside, ball 1. A lot of players more or less play around on the sideline. You know, all everyday players want to be pitchers. Outside, all pitchers want to be everyday players, just like all actors and singers want to be ball players. All ball players would like to be singers and actors. Well, Pete LeCoq is going to the bullpen, and if need be, I think we'll see him pitch. And he might show us some knuckleball, because I've seen Bruce Canton throw on the side. I've stood alongside while Wilbur Wood watched his knuckleball. And Pete, if he could get it in the strike zone, would be the equal to Bruce Canton. Fly ball right field. Patek retired, 1 away. So Freddie 1 out of 2. Here's Willie Wilson. Willie flied to left in the 1st, flied to center in the 3rd, 0 for 2. Then if Pete went out and sat down, he is not throwing right now, there would be one little hit. He would have to be designated to pitch. And he probably has been. I don't know that he hasn't been, but there is that one little technicality. Well, just this year, Wayne Nordhagen has pitched for the Chicago White Sox, so they got into a pinch. Willie takes a strike from Mike Caldwell, 0-1. Remember last year when Baltimore manager Earl Weaver used catcher Elrod Hendricks? There's a swing and a miss. He used him in Toronto. No balls, 2 strikes on Willie Wilson. Final score from Shea Stadium, New York. The New York Mets 2, the Atlanta Braves 1. A rather stormy game which saw manager Bobby Cox ejected. Bouncing ball. Molitor to his left, can't get it. Wilson singles into right with one out. And the batter, George Brett. 11-2 Milwaukee. Was it last year that Jeff Newman of the A's pitched against the Royals? Yes, last year Newman, a catcher, did. Elrod Hendricks, we mentioned, did some pitching. He was a catcher. Nordhagen, who pitched, a catcher. But beats the southpaw and a first baseman outfielder. I don't think we're likely to see Darrell Porter towing the old slab tonight, do you? Well, I doubt it. Mike Caldwell delivers, and George, a pretty good cutter, and he fouled it back to the base of the screen, 0-1. We talk about the ball players, the everyday players, the position players, wanting to pitch, and every once in a while fooling around on the mound. If you're out at the ballpark early some night, take a look at George Brett. He'll do imitations of pitchers. I think he did the best Joe Horner I've ever seen, and only Joe Horner could. He did better than Joe Horner, as a matter of fact. That funny little motion that Joe used to have. We might even see George out there, but I doubt it. Line shot, base hit center field. Gorman Thomas plays it on one hop. So back-to-back singles by Wilson and Brett. And here's Amos Otis. The reason I say we're not likely to see Brett out there on the mound is the simple fact that the batter is only 60 feet 6 inches away from the pitcher. And George is much more valuable at third base, and certainly more valuable in the batter's box. That base hit by George, his 87th hit of the year. In the Atlanta Mets game, New York to win it, 2 runs, 8 hits. Atlanta to lose, 1 run, just 2 hits. 2 on, 1 out. Amos Otis at the plate. Mike Caldwell's pitch is Nick Powell, and the count 0-1.
Hey, let's check one thing. I said he had to be designated. Dean Vogelbach came in and told me that, and I told him I'd never heard of it. Now he came back and said he's not sure that he has to be. I don't know why you would have to be.
Now the signal given. Here's the stretch by Mike Caldwell. The pitch to Otis is drilled into left field for a base hit. Willie Wilson makes the turn at third, and he'll score. Brett stops at second. That makes it 11-3 Milwaukee. Otis has his 35th RBI, his second hit of the ball game. And the batter is Al Collins. Al singled in the second, popped the second in the fourth. A number of years ago, it wasn't uncommon to have a manager have his pitcher play first base or third base for a hitter. And perhaps have another man come in to pitch and then take the man off first base and put him back on the mound. I have never seen that done in the big league. It has been done in the big league. Collins takes a little bit high. 1 ball, no strike. Milwaukee, runners at first and second. Mike Caldwell in quest of his 7th win. His biggest problem right now is just paying attention. He leads 11-3. The Brewers have a dozen hits. 1 ball, 1 strike on Collins. Al has hit safely in 6 straight games. The pitch is made, and Al is swing and a miss. 1-2. The Brewers 3 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third, and 5 in the fourth. Royals 2 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth. Brett at second, Otis at first. 1 out. Caldwell off the stretch. The 1-2 pitch to Al Collins is inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Given. Here's the pitch to Al. High fly ball, left center field. Ben Ogilvy, the left fielder, there to make the catch. That's 2 out, and here is George Scott. Fly to deep center in the second, singled and scored in the fourth. Lou Piniella, homer for the Yankees in the 8th inning with the man on, his 7th. The Texas New York, 9-3. The Yankees playing down in Arlington. Cincinnati leading the Phillies by the score of 6-3. They're in the 9th inning in Philadelphia. Got a bouncing ball to the hole at short, backhanded by Yount to second base. Out! Davis is called out at second base by the umpire, Ken Kaiser. And Otis arguing, he thought that he'd beaten the throw from Yount, who made a tremendous play in the hole at short. Whitey Herzog is going out. So the inning is over. The Royals on 3 hits get a run. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Milwaukee 11 and the Royals 3.
Here's some details of the game just over at Montreal. Art Howell's 9th inning double drove home the winning run. And the Jocelyn Adjudar hurled a 5-hitter as the Houston Astros scored a 2-1 victory over the Montreal Expos. Andujar the winner as Houston wins by 1. With 1 out in the 9th inning, the loser, Elias Sosa, 3-4 now, walked Dennis Walling. Howell then followed with a run-scoring double to right center. Adjudar 6-4 recorded a 6 complete games, walking 2 and striking out 2. At Shea Stadium, Lee Mazzilli snapped a 1-1 tie with an 8th inning single, and Craig Swan fired a 2-hitter to lead the New York Mets to a 2-1 victory over the Atlanta Braves. Tavares opened the 8th inning with a triple to left center off losing pitcher and reliever Joe McLaughlin, now 0-1. Gene Garvey came on, and Mazzilli, who drove in New York's first run with a first inning single, stroked the ground ball into right field to score Tavares. Swan, the losing pitcher, is 7-4. Correction on that. Swan, the winning pitcher, now, of course, is 7-4. In the American League, Rick Waits and David Clyde combined on an 8-hitter. Bobby Bonds belted his 8th homer of the year to spark a 19-hit attack, giving the Cleveland Indians their 4th straight victory, a 13-3 triumph over the Seattle Mariners. Yankees still losing big to Texas now after 9-1, but in the top of the 8th, Lou Piniella hit a home run for New York, his 7th of the year. It came in the 8th with a man on base. Let's pause now for station identification. This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Denny Matthews along with Fred White and producer-engineer Ed Shepard. We are at County Stadium, Milwaukee, and the Brewers are leading 11-3, bottom of the 5th inning. A couple of defensive changes for the Royals. Jamie Quirk is now catching. Jerry Terrell has gone to third, replacing Brett. So Brett and Porter out. Terrell and Quirk into the lineup. The batter, Sal Bando. Sal has walked, singled, and homered. It was Sal who fired the opening salvo in the first inning with a 3-run home run. Charlie Moore hit a 2-run homer in the 3rd, and then Dick Davis with the bases loaded in the 4th. 11 runs, a dozen hits for the Brewers. Bando swings and pops it up into shallow right. Out goes Frank White. Under the ball, makes the catch, and there's one away. Bando retired for the first time tonight. Up comes Gorman Thomas. He's 1 out of 3. His 2nd inning single. He has an RBI and 39 for the year. A final score in from Montreal, where the National League division leaders, the Eastern Division leading Montreal Expos, have lost to the Western Division leading Houston Astros, 2-1. Ground ball, Patek at short has got it. Fires to first, the throw off line, and safe. Good shot, tried to apply the tag, but Gorman Thomas, making the slide, was able to avoid being tagged. And Patek will draw a throwing error. So the Astros 2, the Expos 1. Montreal started the day leading the National League East by 1 over St. Louis. Houston started the day leading Cincinnati by a game and a half. Houston 2 runs, 5 hits. Montreal 1 run, 5 hits. The batter, Ben Ogilvy. Slide to deep center, bounced to second base, walked and scored. Fly ball, right field. Al Collins there makes the catch. Ogilvy flies to right. The batter, Sixto Lizcano. He has walked twice, singled once, 2 runs scored, 1 RBI. Cleveland 13, Seattle 3 a final. Rick Waite wins his 9th. He's 9-4. Jones the loss. He's 1-7. Well, they had an excellent crowd in Cleveland tonight, 32,627. The Indians now go 1 game over 500. Jeff Torborg has done a remarkable job with that team in the last month and a half. Lozcano takes Rodriguez pitch outside, ball 1. Torborg was under severe fire in April. But he has certainly turned that Cleveland team around. 2 balls, no strikes on Sixto Lozcano. The Indians made a trade. They get Mike Hargrove from San Diego in exchange for Paul Dade. That was yesterday. Ball 3 is inside. The Milwaukee Brewers have had 18 base runners. There's a strike, 3-1. And we are only in the bottom of the 5th inning. 11-3 Brewers. Rodriguez pitches. Lined up the middle, base hit. Lozcano singles to center. Gorman Thomas on his way to third. 19 base runners. Here is Robin Yount. Singled in the first. Walked in the fourth. Bounced back to the pitcher in the third. At first and third. 2 out in the bottom of the 5th. Rodriguez pitches in a fly ball left field. Wilson to his left and back under the ball now. And Willie tucks it away to retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 2 left. They have stranded 8. So he's played 5 in Milwaukee in the score. The Brewers 11, the Royals 3.
Let's check some golf from Rochester, New York. Jane Blaylock has a 1-stroke lead over Pat Bradley after 2 rounds of an LPGA golf tournament in the Kodak City. Blaylock shot a 3 under par 70 for a 36-hole total of 7 under par 139 in the $100,000 event. It was Bradley who stole the show today. She shot a sizzling second round 67, which included 2 eagles. That's the first time in over a year the player on the LPGA Tour has had 2 eagles in 1 round. She also set records for 9 and 18 holes in her 4-year-old tournament with a round of 31-36. Sally Little, whose opening round 69, tied her with Blaylock for the lead, finished up with a 72. She's in sole possession of 3rd place at 5 under par 141. Second-year pro, Barbara Moxness is 1 shot back in 4th. There's a baseball note. Ron Bloomberg has filed a grievance over his outright release by the Chicago White Sox earlier this season. The grievance was filed through the Major League Players Association and Bloomberg's attorney. Bloomberg is still collecting on a 4-year, $400,000 no-cut contract he signed in 1977, but wants to be put back on the White Sox roster in order to qualify for larger pension benefits. Bloomberg has not been signed by any other club, and as a result, his pension time starts on April 3rd. Baseball score in the American League after 7, the Orioles 4 and the Twins 3.
We go to the 6th inning, 11-3 in favor of Milwaukee. Jerry Terrell will lead off. He is hitting in Darrell Porter's spot. Jamie Quirk will bat in George Brett's place. That is second in the order. Jerry Terrell, the right-hand batter. Jerry hitting .364 for the year. He's 4 out of 11. 2 of his 4 hits have been doubles. Bouncing ball deep short. Yount has a long throw to make. Safe at first. Terrell beats the throw. It'll be an infield single. So the Royals have 7 hits in the last 2 innings, plus 1 hitter. John Watson steps in. Duke is 0 for 2. Twice he has bounced into 4th out. 7 runs on 13 hits for the homestanding Brewers. 3 runs, 9 hits for the Royals. Watson, a right-hand batter. Here's the stretch by Mike Caldwell in the pitch. Breaking stuff is inside, ball 1. Caldwell, 6 feet tall, weighs 185. Duke tried to take that pitch to right field and missed, and the count is 1-1. Caldwell was born in Tarboro, North Carolina. Lives now in Grafton, Wisconsin, just outside Milwaukee here. Bouncing ball past the pitcher to the second baseman. He's going to tag the runner and throw to first too late. Carroll is out on the tag. Jerry thinks that Molitor missed him and tells Ken Kaiser so. So Molitor. Now Terrell continues to argue. Steve Boros is going to go out and get first the batting helmet, and now Jerry Terrell. Steve Boros becomes the mediator, steps in between, and that's that. So 3 times tonight, Watson has hit ground balls. Duke is at first, 1 away. Frank White at the plate. Frank has hit 2 ground balls, 1 to third, 1 to second. That's Caldwell's style. He's a sinker baller. You know that Mike has his good stuff when you see a lot of ground balls on your score sheet. There's a line drive, though, into center. Frank White has his first hit of the game. Watson stops at second. Freddie singled in the third, fly to right in the fifth. Mike Caldwell, a professional since '71, got to the big leagues for 6 games his first professional season, then won 7 for the Padres in his second year. Drafted by San Diego, had a 6-1 minor league record before joining the Padres for good. He was 13-25 in 3 years with the Padres. Traded to the San Francisco Giants for Willie McCovey in October of '73. Time out for the moment as Patek is outside the batter's box. Runners at first and second, 1 away. 11-3 Milwaukee. We're in the top of the 6th. Mike Caldwell set at the belt. Here's the pitch. A high breaking ball, 1 ball, no strike. We mentioned earlier only Ron Guidry of the Yankees had a better year than Caldwell last season. Mike Caldwell led the major leagues with 23 complete games. Hot shot on the ground. It is a foul ball. Just whistled by the bag at third. 1 ball and 1 strike. Freddie hit the ball with authority. Mike Caldwell was second in the major leagues with 22 wins. Tied for second in the big leagues with Jim Palmer and Bob Nepper of the Giants with 6 shutouts. Palmer of the Orioles, of course, Nepper of the Giants. He was third in the big leagues with an ERA of 2.37 and fourth in the big leagues in innings pitched, 293. Well, that's some year. 2 on, 1 out. The pitch to Freddie is outside. Caldwell set Brewers season records for wins, complete games, earned run average, shutouts, and consecutive wins. In mid-season, he ran off 7 straight victories. The 2-1 pitch, a little bit high. The team that Mike Caldwell tormented the most, the world champion Yankees. He shut out the Yankees 3 times, and the last pitcher to do that was a fellow by the name of Dean Chance with the Angels way back in 1964. Bouncing ball to the hole at short, down to Molitor for the force on Frank White. That's the second out of the inning. Runners at first and third now. Patek now comes up hobbling. The batter, Willie Wilson. Wilson. Willie, 1 out of 3, singled and scored in the 5th. Well, Todd Cruz is going to replace Fred Patek. Fred's still bothered by that bad leg, and he was hustling down the baseline and has apparently aggravated that injury, so he will leave and Todd Cruz will enter. 11-3 Brewers. Royals batting in the top of the 6th.
I think the Royals just announced they're going to call up Bill Pascal from Omaha. I'm sure in hopes that he'll be here tomorrow and be available for bullpen duty. It looks like the efforts to make a trade have fallen through, barring some last-minute thing tonight, and that doesn't look too hopeful, I wouldn't think.
Willie hits a high drive to deep left field. Back goes San Ogilvy. He's at the wall, and it is gone. A home run. Willie Wilson, a 3-run homer. That makes it 11-6 Milwaukee. The 9th home run surrendered by Mike Caldwell this season. Willie has his 3rd home run of the year. And that's the first one that he has hit out of the ballpark. His first 2 home runs were inside the park home runs. So Willie gets Skelly gift certificate. That gives Wilson 13 RBIs. Jamie Clerk at the plate, and James takes the strike, 0-1. There for the first time. Breaking ball is grounded past first base coach Steve Boros. Jamie is 2 out of 6 this year.
Then we understand that Texas has picked up left-hander John Henry Johnson from Oakland for Dave Chalk and Mike Heath.
Outside. I'll tell you, Johnson is a fine pitcher. He's a left-hander. We saw him last year. But Heath is a very promising catcher. A little bit outside.
One more guy you could assume that everybody's after on this at this late hour would be Shane Raleigh of Seattle, probably. Another young left-hander.
Hot shot, base hit right field. Quirk singles between Cooper and Molitor. And here's Amos Otis. And they're beginning to squirm around in the Milwaukee dugout. Cal McClish. Paul Mitchell begins to throw for the Brewers.
Hey, fans may not be familiar with the name John Henry Johnson because he's been pretty well buried on that Oakland ball club. Not buried in the sense that he didn't work. He worked a lot, but it's just tough to win out there. But I've got to agree with you. From what we've seen of him, I have to think if you put him on a good ball club that he's going to be a very effective pitcher.
I'll tell you, it's a good trade in both cases because if Heath progresses the way that most baseball people think he will, the A's have a fine catcher for a number of years. And it's good for the A's because anytime you can trade a pitcher for an everyday player, and especially a catcher, a second baseman, a shortstop, or a center fielder, you're well ahead of the game. And with Sundberg, the Rangers don't need a catcher, barring injury, obviously. And it will really help their pitching staff. And they felt that they're just one pitcher short.
How do you think Dave Chalk must feel tonight? He's gone from the club leading the division to a strong contender to oblivion.
Dave is probably thinking, chalk me off. Huh? Chalk one up for Charlie. Something along those lines. Shot foul by Amos Otis. 1 ball and 1 strike. to 6 Milwaukee. Royals batting in the top of the 6th. Mike Caldwell pitches. Amos Otis gets a change, and a high change at that, and he bounced it foul past the third base coach, Chuck Hiller. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Tomorrow's papers will make interesting reading. The trading deadline, midnight tonight. There will be some things done this evening.
Let's explain that trading deadline. Midnight, New York. Here's the pitch. Inside. If the Royals are trading with a team on the West Coast, for instance, they can do so until 2 a.m. Midwest time. So 3 o'clock in New York, it's all over. Midnight on the West Coast. A drive down the right field line, chasing it is Westcotto, and he makes the foul ball basket-style catch to retire Amos Otis and the Royals in the sixth. The Royals on Willie Wilson's 3-run home run. 3 runs on 4 hits. And as we go to the bottom of the sixth, the score, the Brewers 11, the Royals 6.
In tennis today, 4th-seeded Arthur Ashe outlasted South African Bernie Mitten in a third-round marathon lasting 6 hours and 13 minutes to reach the quarterfinals of the Queen's Club Grass Court Championships in London. The 1975 Wimbledon champion finished the match with a 7-6, 4-6, 15-13 win after being interrupted 4 times by rain, which virtually washed out the day's program. France quickly grabbed a 2-0 lead in their quarterfinal European Zone Davis Cup meeting against Switzerland before only 250 spectators. In singles play, Yannick Noah crushed Hans Gunthardt 6-love, 6-3, and 6-2. And Dominique Fidel defeated Roland Sadler 2-6, 6-2, 7-5, and 6-4. Checking some other things in sports, saying there's an imminent danger of serious disorders during the Pan American Games in Puerto Rico next month. Governor Carlos Romero Barcelo signed an order Friday night in San Juan, mobilizing the National Guard. It is the first time the National Guard, as a division of the U.S. Army, has been called out during the administration of Romero Barcelo. The governor declined to take the measure during last year's violent and sabotage-plagued strike at the state power company. Barcelo said similar measures have been taken in other nations staging major international sports events.
We go to the bottom of the sixth, 11-6 Milwaukee. Dick Davis, Charlie Moore, Paul Molitor coming up. Davis 1 out of 3, but that one was a grand slam home run. It came back in the 4th inning. Eduardo Rodriguez has been in there since the 3rd inning. His first pitch going inside. 1 ball, no strike. The final score, Texas 9, New York 5. For the Rangers over the Yankees in Texas. Inside 2-0. 9 runs, 10 hits for Texas. 5 runs, 10 hits for the Yankees. Down in Chicago, the Red Sox and the White Sox going at it. The White Sox are leading 8-3. It's all 3. 3-0. Carlton fifth, homered for Boston. It came in the 8th inning with nobody on, his second. The Red Sox still trail by 5, 8-3. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Strike called, 3-1. Signal given by Jamie Quirk. Inside, ball 4. Well, that's only 20 base runners the Brewers have had in 5 innings and 1 hitter. Here's Charlie Moore, who's 1 out of 3, a 2-run home run in the 3rd. Center, Otis to his left is there and makes the catch. Charlie Moore retired. 1 away in the Milwaukee 6th inning, and here comes Paul Molitor. He is 4 out of 4. 4 singles, 2 runs scored, 2 stolen bases. We salute the Pro-Am dealers in Medicine Lodge, Kansas, Wool Wine Supply Company, and B&G Discount Auto Parts in Kansas City, Kansas. Molitor, a 6-game hitting streak. He started the night hitting .303, and he's 4 out of 4. He slices one down the right field line. It is peeling off into the crowd. No balls and a strike. Dan Ford homered for the Angels in the 9th inning with nobody on, his 8th, to put the Angels out in front of the Tigers 8-7. Boston got 3 in the 8th. And They have chopped into the White Sox lead. It's now the White Sox 8, Boston 5. The Red Sox trying to rally. Molitor takes the high, 1 ball and a strike. Runs, 13 hits for the Brewers. 6 runs, a dozen hits for the Royals. There goes the runner. Fly ball, short center. Otis is there. And makes the catch. Dick Davis retreats to first. Paul Molitor retired for the first time tonight. And the batter will be Cecil Cooper. Cecil is 1 out of 4. He singled and scored in the first inning. Afternoon, either Marty Patton or Steve Busby against Jim Clayton. And on Sunday afternoon, Rich Gale and Larry Sorensen. Runner at first, 2 down. Here's the pitch. It's way inside, backhanded by Jamie Quirk. A perfect night for baseball. Slight breeze now blowing to left. It was blowing quite hard when the game started. But the wind has calmed a bit. The temperature in the 80s. The weatherman says tomorrow temperature into the 90s. One ball and 1 strike on. Left-hand hitting Cecil Cooper. Foul ball backing out of play. Ball and 2 strikes. Brewers trying to win their 35th game of the year. They're 34-29. Royals are 33-29. Line to right field. Base hit for Cooper. Dick Davis puts on the brakes at second. Bando comes toward the plate. Sal hit a 3-run homer in the first, walked in the second, singled and scored in the fourth, and popped his second in the fifth. First and second occupied, 2 out. Right-hander against right-hander. Outside to Sal, ball 1. The big first base coach talking to Cecil Cooper. Bando takes down too low. Frank Howard is listed in the Milwaukee Press Guide at 6'7", 300 pounds. He has definitely lost weight since last year. There's the breaking ball for a strike, 2-1. His weight last year was in the neighborhood of 375. He was born in Columbus, Ohio, makes his home in Green Bay, Wisconsin. He attended Ohio State. Fine basketball player there. Bando hits the foul ball, backing out of play. Quirk to the screen, but nothing doing. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Frank Howard in his major league career had 382 home runs. 123 in the National League. He was with the Dodgers. 5 full seasons with the Dodgers, then spent 7 years with the Washington Senators. 259 career homers in the American League. And a very respectable batting average for a slugger anyway, of 273. Bando hits a high pop foul. George Scott right to the barrier, no play. So Frank Howard played 15 years in the big league. He was the National League Rookie of the Year in 1960 with the Dodgers. Finished his career with the Tigers, spent 74 in Japan. Signed by the Dodgers in 1958. He hit one of the hardest home runs I have ever seen hit off the Royals left-hander Tom Bergmeyer at the old stadium in Washington, D.C. Bouncing ball to short. Cruz goes to White for the forced play on Cooper at second, and that's the inning. 1 hit, no runs, a walk, 2 left. They stranded 10, but they've scored 11. At the end of 6, the Brewers 11, the Royals 6. A couple of baseball notes, possibly with tongue-in-cheek and possibly not. Bud Harrelson's former softball team
is demanding compensation from the Philadelphia Phillies for signing Bud. Harrelson played for the Browsery, a team in a league governed by the Huntington Long Island Softball Commission. Commissioner Tide Letterer of the Huntington Group fired off a letter to Baseball Commissioner Bowie Kuhn asking compensation for Harrelson. Bud, who retired from baseball 2 months ago and has been playing softball on weekends, recently returned to the Phils after they lost a couple of infielders through injuries. The compensation Huntington is asking for is Philly relief pitcher Tug McGraw of Blight Spirit on and off the diamond. Former Detroit Tiger first baseman Norm Cash is reported still in serious condition after having what doctors believe was a slight stroke. The Tigers team physician says Cash suffered some paralysis on the right side of his face and body, but is still able to speak. The 44-year-old Cash played for the Tigers from 1960 through 1974, hitting 373 home runs in that span. Well, on Thursday, the Cleveland Indians and San Diego Padres completed the trade. The Indians sent outfielder Paul Dade to the Padres in exchange for first baseman Mike Hargrove. The 27-year-old Dade was batting .282 for the Tribe with 3 homers and 18 runs batted in. Hargrove, who's 29, hit only .192 with no homers and 8 RBIs for the Padres this year, but he's a lifetime .288 hitter.
As the Royals come to bat in the 7th, the Brewers have a new pitcher, and he is none other than Paul Mitchell. We owe you a station break, so let's take care of that item of business right now. This is the Kansas City Royals Radio Network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Danny Matthews, along with Fred White and producer-engineer Ed Shepard at County Stadium, Milwaukee, where a fine crowd of 32,812 see a lot, hits, runs, a couple of errors. 11 runs, 14 hits for the Brewers, 6 runs, and 12 hits for the Royals. So Paul Mitchell takes over. Mike Caldwell went 6 innings to allow the 6 runs, 2 dozen hits. 7th inning, here again is Fred. Okay, thank you, Denny. On a night that the Royals got to Mike Caldwell, who had finished 9 of his 13 starts prior to this, and they got to him for 6 runs and a dozen hits in 6 innings, it was a night the Royal pitching couldn't hold him, so the Royals down by 5. Still alive and breathing here in Milwaukee. The offense springing to life. After the Royals were down 6-0, they cut it to 6-2. Then it was 11-2. Now they're back to 11-6, and Al Cowan's hoping to start something against Paul Mitchell, formerly of the Oakland A's and the Seattle Mariners. Right-hander against right-hander to start the Royal half of the 7th. Mitchell set. The first pitch to Al Cowan's on the way. High bouncer foul past third. 1 strike. The Reds beat the Phillies 6-3 tonight. A final in Philadelphia. Mitchell ready. Here's the pitch. High fly ball, right field. Sixto Lezcano just in a couple of steps makes the catch. Now Cowan's retired. He's 1 for 4 tonight. Now George Scott, who has singled and scored, he's 1 for 3. And again, the Brewer fans greet Scott with boos. George was very vocal about wanting out of Milwaukee, and the fans haven't forgotten. And aren't likely to. Mitchell ready to pitch. Swing and a miss by Scott. Jerry Carroll next. Mitchell ready again to pitch. Outside, 1-1. The Royal offense tonight has been marked by a 3-run homer by Willie Wilson. The first home run in his major league career that he's hit out of the park. He had 2 inside the Parkers earlier this year. Now Charlie Moore out to talk to Paul Mitchell. The conference breaks up in a hurry. George Scott wearing number 0. He had always worn number 5, but you know who that belongs to on the Royals. Strike call, 1-2. In case you don't, George Brett. Mitchell sets the pitch again.
Ball outside. The count evens out 2-2. Paul Mitchell thought he had him struck out. Moore puts down a sign. Here's the 2-2 pitch. High bouncer to shortstop. Robin Yount with a chest-high hop throws out Scott. 2 men gone. So Scott's run for 4 tonight. Here's Jerry Terrell, who beat out an infield single his first time up. Well, how would you little leaguers like to take your entire team out to see the Royals big leaguers play free? For your chance, just register at any participating Unit Royal dealer. Terrell in, 2 out, nobody on, top of the 7th, 11-6 Milwaukee. Now Terrell steps out again. Watson will hit this inning if Terrell gets aboard. Here's the pitch. Off-speed breaking stuff high, 1-0. Moore puts down another sign. Mitchell set again the pitch. High fly ball, center field. Gorman Thomas backpedaling in front of the warning track. Brings it down, and the inning's over. The Royals go 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the 7th in Milwaukee. The Brewers 11 and the Royals 6. Well, one of the longer ball games, at least a little bit longer than average. We usually figure about 2 hours and 45, and we're heading down 20 minutes away from the 3-hour mark, and we still have possibly 2.5 innings to go. With a big lead, though, we might only have 2 because Milwaukee was not bad in the home 9th. Well, San Francisco Giants fans have Ron Gordon to thank for 75-cent hot dogs at Candlestick Park. Yesterday, Gordon won an 11-month title to get the San Francisco Park and Recreation Board to roll back a 5-cent hot dog surcharge that had granted Stevens California Enterprises. The company asked for the surcharge to pay for wrapping the dogs in paper as required by the state health code. The 33-year-old biology teacher drew charts, even demonstrated hot dog wrapping to show the Recreation Board it could be done a lot faster than Stevens was claiming. When the board voted yesterday to roll back the extra nickel, and elated Gordon said, hot dog. That's not really what he said. He said, I can't believe it took this long. A friend's wife was pregnant when she began, and now they have a 10-month-old baby. So it's still hot dog. All right, let's check the scoreboard now. The Yankees have been beaten by Texas 9-5. Baltimore, Minnesota on the top of the 9th. Orioles at bat, and it's all tied up at 4-4. Final in National League. Cincinnati beat Philadelphia 6-3. Mets 2, Braves 1. Houston 1 over Montreal 2-1. Game just underway. 1.5. Pittsburgh 1. Los Angeles nothing. No score after 2 between St. Louis and San Francisco. Nothing in yet. Chicago at San Diego, but they are underway. Some other finals in the American League. Toronto 6, Oakland nothing. That game was finished a long time ago. Cleveland slaughtered Seattle 13-3. And California eked out an 8-7 win over Detroit. Sparky Anderson is 0-2 as new skipper of the Tigers. The bottom of the 7th in Milwaukee. Steve Mangori takes over on the mound now for the Royals. Ed Rodriguez went 3 in the 3rd. Gave up 7 hits, 5 runs, a home run. The Royals are going to have to come back or slip 5 games behind California. The Angels have hung on to defeat Detroit 8-7 tonight. Cardinals 3, Cardinals nothing, San Francisco nothing, the bottom of the 3rd. White Sox beat Boston 8-5 tonight. Mangori's first pitch to Gorman Thomas misses outside, ball 1. In Cincinnati's win, Tom Seaver got the win. He's 4-5. Christensen the loser, 1-4. Mangori ready to pitch again. Swing and a miss. Count evens out, a ball and a strike on Gorman Thomas. Certainly the most excitement in the park right now is disturbance down the left field line. Everybody paying attention to that and none to the game. Then he has the glasses on. We make it a blow-by-blow account. Here's the pitch to Gorman Thomas. Strike call, 1-2.
Nobody on, nobody out. Bottom of the 7th, 11-6, Milwaukee. And Gorey's pitch is a high foul ball in the upper deck down the left field side. Still 1-2. Denny's lost interest. It must have been a very weak altercation. Oops, now he's back at it. Gorman Thomas waiting, then Gorey winding. Here's the pitch. Way outside. Count evens out 2-2. Good crowd here tonight, 32,812. And Gorey's pitch. Misses in a full count, 3-2. Gorman Thomas waiting, Steven Gorey winding. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. High foul ball down the left field side again. Gorman Thomas had home run range, but it was foul. 3-2 the count. The outfield playing Thomas deep in the pole. Then Gorey ready again, the 3-2 pitch on the way. Popped him up foul, but it's going to be out of play. Darrell near the Royal dugout runs out of room. So still 3-2 to Gorman Thomas. And Gorey with a new baseball set to work again. Gorman Thomas back in. Again the line and again the 3-2 pitch. Ball 4. That's the 7th walk given up by Royal pitching tonight. The first issued by Steven Gorey. He walks the first man he faces. And here comes Ben Ogilvie, who's 0 for 3. He has walked and scored a run. The 6 men who had walked prior to this, 3 had scored. So yes, the base on balls does hurt. It's 11-6 Brewers. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Ogilvie in. Scott holding the runner at first to pitch. Ground ball. Scott grabs and steps on first, throws to second. Now they've got the runner trapped, and he is tagged out by George Scott. An excellent play by Scott at first base. Ogilvie just did a BB down the first base line. Scott able to pick it off. Stepped on the bag. Then threw the shortstop, Todd Cruz, who ran Thomas back to first, then fired to Scott, who tagged him out. So it's a 3-6-3 double play, with George Scott recording both putouts, of course. And 2 out, nobody on to Sixto Lascano. He has singled twice. He has walked twice. Driven in a run and scored twice. So quickly, 2 out, nobody on. And now Lascano in, and Gorey's pitch. Ground ball to short. Todd Cruz has it. Comes up gunning, and the inning's over. Lascano goes short to first. No runs, no hits, nobody left. And after 7, it's Milwaukee 11 and the Royals 6. Al Bunbury has just smashed a triple to the right field corner, and the Orioles have scored twice in the top of the 9th. So Minnesota now coming to bat, and they need a couple of runs to stay alive in that ball game. The score is the Orioles 6 and the Twins 4. Al Bunbury has been hot as of late, getting his first triple of the year. He's picked a good time to do it with 2 mates on board. Mike Squires drove in 4 runs, including 2 with a double that keyed a 5-run second inning. The Chicago White Sox registered an 8-5 victory over the Boston Red Sox. Chicago also took advantage of 3 Boston errors, as Rich Wortham, 7-5, picked up the victory, allowing 8 hits before giving way to Steve Trout in the 8th inning. Again, it's 8-5 Chicago over Boston. Dan Ford snapped the 7-7 tie with a 9th inning homer, and Bobby Grich belted a pair of home runs, driving 3 runs, giving the California Angels an 8-7 victory over Detroit, and handing new Tigers manager Sparky Anderson his second loss in as many nights. And John Grubb and Al Oliver each drove in a couple of runs in an 8-run 5th inning
to propel the Texas Rangers to a 9-5 win over the New York Yankees. New York starter Ed Figueroa retired the first 11 men he faced, but after the Rangers tied the game 1-1 in the fourth, they sent 12 men to the plate in the fifth for their most productive inning of the season. In the National League, Tom Seaver celebrated the 2-year anniversary of his trade to Cincinnati by tossing a 6-hitter and also double home 2 runs as Cincinnati beat Philadelphia 6-3.
The 6th Milwaukee, John Wasson to lead it off against Paul Mitchell. And again, here's Denny. Hi, Fred. Wasson is 0 for 3. He has scored a run. 11 runs on 14 hits for Milwaukee. They got 3 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third, and 5 in the fourth. None since. The Royals 2 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, and 3 in the sixth. Wasson, a fly ball into right field. Lescano fading back makes the catch, and there's 1 away. The Royals 3 runs in the sixth, the result of Willie Wilson's home run. His first outside the park home run this year. He had 2 inside the park home runs. The batter is Frank White. Frank is 1 out of 3, singled in the sixth. It has been a big payday, or pay night for the Brewers. 32,812 looking on. They have drawn very well this year. Frank, after a Paul Mitchell fastball, didn't get it. 0-1. The Brewers started the night having drawn 585,000 so far. Frank, fooled by a curve, hits a foul ball by the Brewer dugout, and Charlie Moore, the catcher, makes a nice catch. Paul Mitchell really pulled the string on a breaking ball, and Frank, off stride and fooled, fouls out. Moore, as he neared the Milwaukee Brewers dugout, took a little peek to see where he was, but nonetheless able to make the catch. 2 down. Now Steve Braun is going to hit for Todd Cruz. Braun to bat for Cruz. Has a 4-game hitting streak alive, having gone 7 for 15. 4 runs, a pair of homers, and 3 RBIs. Steve, in his last 6 games, has gone 9 for 21. He takes a strike, 0-1. Right-hander Paul Mitchell ready and pitches. Fastball missed away, 1 ball and 1 strike. Game in the top of the 8th. The Royals down 11-6. Off speed and outside. Mitchell's 2-1 pitch. Braun chops one foul off his front foot, and that one stung him. Get your red hot! Get your red hot! Right here! Get him here! Get hold here! Hold here! Pitch sharply down on his instep. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Now we're ready. Paul Mitchell's 2-2 pitch. Over but low, 3-2. Braun has an excellent eye. He comes in a high drive to deep right field. Lescano on the warning track, has room, makes the catch. And that ends the inning. Steve Braun hits the ball deep and out. The Royals down 1-2-3 in the top of the 8th. The Brewers take their turn in the bottom of the 8th inning, and Milwaukee leads the Royals 11-6.
Billie Jean King blasted a warning of her intention to capture the all-time record of 20 Wimbledon titles today by overwhelming Martina Navratilova 6-1, 6-2. in just over 45 minutes at England's Chichester Tennis Tournament. The 35-year-old King was more alert, more enthusiastic, and more competitive than the Wimbledon champion. Navratilova won the first game, but then lost 10 in a row in a spell of utter depression and lack of touch with the soft grass. She watched the match slip from her grasp with a suddenness that stunned the crowd. King has a semifinal encounter with former Wimbledon champion Yvonne Goolagong, who ended Pantee Garden's fine run by 6-2, 7-6 in the quarterfinal. Early in the day, Teagarden had beaten Rosie Casal 2-6, 6-2, and 6-3. At London, temperamental tennis star Nastasi, mainstay of a little-known Romanian squad, scored a straight-set victory over West Germany's Peter Elter to keep his country hopes alive in the European Zone B quarterfinals of the Davis Cup. Nastasi, one of the absentees from this month's upcoming Wimbledon Championships because of nagging injury, won 6-4, 6-4, and 6-2. Poland's Wojciech Fibik, like Nastasi, a lone world-class player on an inexperienced team, posted an emphatic 6-2, 6-love, 2-6, and 6-4 win over Italy's Andrinato Panatta in a Zone B quarterfinal to raise the possibility of a surprise Polish victory over the 1976 champion. The return singles matches will be replayed on Wednesday.
Milwaukee 11, the Royals 6, bottom of the 8th inning. Robin Yount at the plate, Stephen Gorey on the mound. Yount is 1 out of 3, singled back in the first inning. Mingo's pitch is a screwball swung and missed, 0-1. The New York Yankees and the Cleveland Indians have just made a trade. Outfielder, catcher, designated hitter Cliff Johnson goes from New York to Cleveland in exchange for left-hand pitcher Don Hood. A ball to Robin Yount, 1-1. Here's the pitch. Ground ball sharply hit. Washington now at short. Nice backhand pickup in the throw. He got him. Oh, what a play by UL. UL Washington, who has just entered the ball game. Braun, remember, batted for Todd Cruz. UL makes a sparkling play deep in the hole at short. Not only a fine stop, but an even better throw. Yount can run. One away. Here is Dick Davis. A grand slam home run in the 4th inning. And as the Royals scored 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, and 3 in the 6th, that grand slam home run became a mighty, mighty big item in this game. The first pitch is a strike, 0-1. The other trade tonight between the Texas Rangers and the Oakland A's, Mike Heath and Dave Chalk. Heath a catcher, Chalk an infielder. Texas to Oakland in exchange for a left-hand pitcher, John Johnson. A ball and a strike on Dick Davis. The Royals have recalled Bill Pascal from Omaha. Ground ball sharply hit. Terrell at third, scoops it up. On to George Scott in time. Here's Charlie Moore, the catcher. Charlie has kicked in a 2-run home run to the Brewer cause. He's 1 out of 4. He's also flied to center, bounced out, and been called out on strike. Paul Splittorff made the start his first pitching assignment. He missed 9 days, because of the flu. Bouncing ball, foul outside third. Paul struggled. It was just hard work for Split tonight. Didn't have his good stuff. Didn't have his good control at all. He was behind almost every hitter, and as you know, that is very unlike Paul. So he missed a week and a half, and he paid the price tonight. So did the Royals. The Brewers had the Royals down 6-0 after 3, and 11-2 at the end of 4. And a strike on Charlie Moore, right-hand batter. Here's the pitch. A little pop-up into shallow right center. Collins on the run. He got there. Good play by Al. 2 fine plays for the Royals in the 8th inning. The Brewers go down 1-2-3, and that is the first time tonight. We go to the 9th. Milwaukee 11 and the Royals 6.
As you heard a moment ago, Cliff Johnson has been traded by the Yankees. He's the one that got in the fight with Goose Gossage and put him out of action for a while. Cliff Johnson goes to Cleveland in exchange for pitcher Don Hood. We should get more details on that trade a little bit later. We do have this word in from Arlington, Texas. The Texas Rangers tonight traded right-handed pitcher Doc Ellis to the New York Mets for 2 minor league pitchers and sent veteran infielder Dave Chalk to the Oakland A's for a pair of left-handed pitchers and cash. Now, the Mets deal, the Rangers dealt Ellis 1-5 this year with an earned run average of 5.98 from minor league left-hander Bob Myrick and right-hander Mike Bruhart. Myrick and Bruhart will go from the Mets Toddwater Farm Club in the International League to the Rangers Tucson Farm Club in the Pacific Coast League. Ellis, who has played for Pittsburgh, the Yankees, Oakland, and the Rangers, was traded to Texas during the winter of 1975-76. Before the Ellis deal, the Rangers announced the acquisition of left-handed pitcher John Henry Johnson from the Oakland A's for infielder Dave Chalk, minor league catcher Mike Keith, and cash. Texas owner Brad Corbett personally made the Johnson-Chalk-Keith deal with A's owner Charlie Finley after an early morning flight to Chicago. The Rangers had been in need of another left-handed starter to go with John Madlack. With Johnson's addition and the departure of Ellis, the Rangers have 10 pitchers on the roster. Johnson's 22, had an excellent rookie season with the A's last year, posting an 11-10 mark and earned run average of 3.39.
Royals bat in the ninth, trailing 11-6. Paul Mitchell sent to work to the top of the order. Willie Wilson, Jamie Quirk, and Amos Otis. Paul Mitchell, if he works this inning without any difficulty, is eligible to get a save, having worked 3 innings. Mike Caldwell went the first 6. And Mike stands to win his 7th game. A final score from Chicago. The White Sox have downed the Boston Red Sox 8-5. Rich Wortham the win, now 7-5. Mike Torres the loss. Mike is 6-5. And a big crowd in Chicago tonight, 46,556. And the White Sox sent them home happy. Line drive off the bat of Wilson, base hit. Willie has his 3rd hit of the night. He started the night at .342. He's 3 out of 5. 2 singles and a 3-run home run. 2 runs scored. That is the first hit off Mitchell, who retired the first 6. Jamie Quirk, the batter, he singled back in the 6th. Royals down 11-6. The stretch by Mitchell. The pitch to Quirk is a fastball outside. The White Sox to win at 8 runs, 9 hits. Boston 5 runs, 11 hits. White Sox got 2 in the first, 5 in the second. Jamie had a good cut and he fouled tip. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tomorrow afternoon, Marty Patton or Steve Busby against Jim Slayton. Then on Sunday, Rich Gale and Larry Sorensen. Slayton 5-3, Sorensen is 8-6. Gale 5-4, Marty Patton is 3-0. Steve Busby is 2-3. The pitch to Jamie Quirk is sliced foul and out of play. Lands in the seats on the third base side. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Willie Wilson at first, nobody out. Paul Mitchell against the sign. The right-hander at the belt, checking to see where Willie is. Overhand curve to Quirk is grounded foul outside first. Brewers trying to even up the season series between these two clubs at 2 games apiece. The Royals won 2 out of 3 last week in Kansas City. The stretch, the 1-2 pitch. Missed outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. This is Mitchell's 2nd appearance since joining the Brewers. Ground ball, base hit right field. Willie Wilson around second, applies the brakes. So the Royals have something cooking here. 2 on, nobody out. That means action in the Milwaukee bullpen. George Bamberger, the manager of the Brewers, striding very purposefully toward the mound. George has done quite a job with this Milwaukee team. Named by the Sporting News as the Major League Manager of the Year in '78. Led the Brewers to 3rd place in the Eastern Division with 93 wins. Trailed the division winning and pennant winning and then World Series winning Yankees by 6.5. Bamberger spent 10 years as pitching coach with the Baltimore Orioles and had 18 20-game winners in 10 years. He's going to leave Mitchell in to pitch to Amos Otis. Amos 2 out of 4, a couple of singles. 2 on, nobody out, 11-6 Milwaukee, and there's a shot to center field. Gorman Thomas, though, is there, and he makes the catch. That ball was hit on a line, and then at the last moment, it sort of dipped on Gorman Thomas, but he stayed right with it. Otis lines hard to center. Here's Al Collins. Al is 1 out of 4, singled his first time up. Facing Mitchell just once, he flied to right field. Well, that's a shame. If Otis gets that ball into left center or right center, the Royals really have something on the fire. But that's a big out. That really halts your momentum. You need 5 to tie. The Royals could have used a break with regard to the location of that line drive, but Thomas was playing Otis perfectly. George Scott will be next. The Royals need 2 more runners to have a chance. Bounce foul wide of third. No balls and a strike on Al Collins. 11 runs on 14 hits for the Brewers. 6 runs on 14 hits for the Royals. Wilson at second, Jamie Quirk at first. Jamie 2 out of 2 since taking over behind the plate for Darrell Porter. Fly ball, short left field. Ogilvy's going to have to hurry. Base hit. Willie Wilson to third, and the bases are loaded. Ogilvy tried to decoy Willie, then tried to act as if he was going to make the catch, but Willie knew better. Here is George Scott, and he could pull the Royals to within 1 single run. The Royals now have actually out-hit the Brewers by 1, but still trail by 5. Is 1 out of 4. He's singled in the 4th. Slide to deep center, his first time at bat in a Royal uniform. George Bamberger, the manager of the Brewers, is now standing in the Milwaukee dugout. This was a laugher for a while. Bouncing ball, base hit to center. Willie scores. Here comes Jamie Quirk to the plate. Thomas throw to third, and safe is Collins. 11-8, and the tying run is at the plate. Jerry Terrell is coming out, and so is manager George Bamberger. And that's it for Mitchell. So, very interesting. A pitching change being made. The situation is runners at first and third, still but 1 out. We are in the top of the 9th, and the score now, Milwaukee 11, Royals 8. Let's take that time to check the scoreboard of the West Coast games in the National League. No score still after 2, Chicago at San Diego. Pittsburgh and Los Angeles 3.5, Bucks 1, and the Dodgers nothing. St. Louis and San Francisco 3.5, Cardinals 1, the Giants 1. Big news there, though, is Willie McCovey. He did another home run, came in the 4th, nobody on, his 9th of the year, and his 514th career home run. McCovey a home run, nobody on the 4th for the Giants. Again, the final scores in the American League. California beat Detroit 8-7. Cleveland triumphed over Seattle 13-3. Toronto blanked Oakland 6-0. Chicago beat Boston 8-5, and Baltimore has just won. They held off Minnesota. Stoddard put out the fire from the bullpen. The Twins scored 1 time in the home 9 after the Orioles scored twice in the top of the 9th. Baltimore holds on to win 6-5. Now, by winning, the Red Sox losing to Chicago 8-5. The Orioles are now 2 games in front of the Boston Red Sox in the American League East. Milwaukee hoping to hold on to win this one. If they do, they'll still 6 back. The Yankees have lost to Texas, but the Yankees are 7.5 behind Baltimore. Yankees 33-30, Orioles 40-22. Detroit's lost, so they're 8.5 back. Cleveland remains 8.5. Toronto 22.5. In the West, California has won, so right now, at the moment,
After Minnesota lost, they are now 4.5 in front of the Twins.
Back at County Stadium, Reggie Cleveland now pitching. He's 1-3 with 2 saves. This is his 17th appearance. His earned run average is 4.11. Allowed 35 hits in 31 innings, 12 strikeouts and 9 walks. With Reggie Cleveland now going to take over for Paul Mitchell, Pete Lecoq has grabbed the bat, and he'll be hitting for Terrell. Waffen follows Pete Lecoq. At Dodger Stadium tonight, the Pirates are leading the Dodgers 1-0. The Dodgers are batting in the bottom of the 4th. Willie McCovey has homered for the San Francisco Giants. That came in the 4th inning with nobody on. It was the 514th of his career. His 9th this season. San Francisco on McCovey's home run has taken a 2-1 lead over the St. Louis Cardinals. San Diego hosting the Cubs. No score in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Baltimore, Minnesota. Baltimore 6. Minnesota 4. The Twins are batting in the bottom of the 9th. Baltimore got 2 in the top of the 9th. Right-hander Reggie Cleveland about to work to Pete Lecoq. Pete, a 271 hitter. Pete hasn't homered yet this year. What a spot for it. This would be the tying run stepping up to the plate. Let's see how Pete has done against the Brewers this year. He's 2 for 9 with 1 RBI, 2 runs scored. Pete has been struggling lately, however. He is hitless in his last 15 at-bats. Runners at first and third, 1 out, and a shot into left center field. Ogilvie is there and makes the catch. Now Collins tags the third and scores after the catch. It'll be a sacrifice fly and an RBI. But the Brewers tickled to death to trade that run for the out that they got. Here's John Waffen. George Scott, the runner at first. 2 out in the top of the 9th, 11-9 Milwaukee. The tying run at the plate, Reggie Cleveland set at the belt. The pitch to Duke, hammered at and missed. Cleveland has surrendered 2 home runs this year. Years ago, when Waffen hit his first 2 big league homers, one of them was hit right here in this ballpark. The 0-1 pitch, up too high, 1 ball and 1 strike. Now the stretch. Here's the pitch. Dick Powell. Reggie Cleveland throwing Waffen a good hard slider away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The breeze is blowing toward left. Boy, if Cleveland made a mistake and gave Waffen something to pull, Duke would have the wind behind him. Got it first, 2 down, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the stretch. Here's the pitch. Bouncing ball over the pitcher's head. He might beat it out. And the ball is fumbled by Yount. Everybody is safe. Yount trying to come up with a short hop. Came up empty. Let's see how they score it. Probably a base hit. No ruling as yet. It is a base hit. Here's Frank White. Now the tying run at first and the lead run at the plate. The Royals trailed 11-2 after 4 innings. Now it's 11-9 and they have the tying run at first. Low and outside. It got away from the catcher, but no advance. Royals have 17 hits in this game. But they trail by 2 with 2 out in the ninth. Reggie Cleveland trying to nail down the win. Here's the pitch. Line drive, base hit into left field. George Scott around third to score, and Wasson, the tying run, stops at second. 11-10 Milwaukee. Frank White picks up his 13th RBI. Here is UL Washington. UL batting for the first time tonight. Batting average 254, 10 RBIs. He's a switch hitter. Out comes George Bamberger. Look back into this inning now and recall, if you will, the ball off the bat of Amos Otis. The line shot right at Gorman Thomas. Remember I said, oh, if the ball had only been into left center or right center. Well, it wasn't. Going to do it for Cleveland. The Brewers are going to make the pitching change. Now the Royals have runners at first and second. There are 2 out. And the score now, Milwaukee 11 and the Royals 10. Here's the final score. I'll give a report on this one from Bloomington, Minnesota. Al Bunbury ripped a 2-run triple with 2 outs in the 9th inning to pace the Baltimore Orioles to a 6-5 triumph over the Minnesota Twins. Loser Mike Marshall now 8-6. Making his 38th appearance, walked Doug DeSantis, and pinch hitter Terry Crowley to set the stage for Bunbury with a triple down the right field line to give reliever Don Stanhouse his 5th victory in 6 decisions. Tim Stoddard retired the final 2 batters after an RBI single in the 9th by Butch Weiniger to record his 2nd save. And the road to Moscow for American athletes opened today at San Antonio College in Walnut, California. More than 1,300 Olympic hopefuls began competition, the National AAU Track and Field Championship. The AAU meet is the first major stepping stone to the 1980 games in Moscow. Right-hander Bill Castro now pitching for the Milwaukee Brewers. Castro makes his 17th appearance, no record, 1 save. He's allowed 12 hits in 13 innings, 2 earned runs, no homers, 3 strikeouts, and 5 walks. The Royals have scored 4 runs here in the inning on 6 singles. Here are the totals. Milwaukee, 11 runs, 14 hits, 1 error. The Royals, 10 runs, 18 hits, and 1 error. And Fred, this may startle you, but do you realize that the Royals have not received a single base on balls in this game? Do you realize that of the 18 hits, the Royals have 17 singles and 1 home run? The home run, the 3-run homer by Willie Wilson. So they're just crying for the extra base hit, a double, a triple, a home run. It's tough to do it when you just single the other team to death. But that's what they've done here in the 9th. Willie Wilson started it. He singled. Then Quirk singled. Otis lined hard to center. Collins singled. Scott singled. Then a sacrifice fly. John Watson an infield single. Frank White a single. And here is UL Washington batting for the first time. The tying run at second. The lead run at first. The Royals trailed after 4 innings by the score of 11-2. And now here in the top of the 9th with 2 on and 2 out, it is 11-10 Brewers. Washington a switch hitter on the left side. Bill Castro getting ready. Here's the stretch, and now he steps off the rubber. We're ready to go. Watson at second. Frank White at first. Here's the pitch. Outside, ball 1. One ball and no strikes. A base hit could tie it. An extra base hit could give the Royals the lead. Base hit left field. Here comes Watson. He's going to try to score. Just will get him. Safe. The game is tied. I don't believe it. is Willie Wilson. A 5-run inning. It was 11-6 when this inning started. And here is Willie Wilson. Willie 3 out of 5 tonight. The Royals have risen from the ashes. Runners at first and second. Here's the pitch. Line down the left field line. Ogilvie chasing it. Fair ball into the corner. White scores. Here comes Washington to score. Look it away. He's around second. He's on his way to third. He's around third. Here he comes. He is safe. And inside the park, home run. Good heavens. I wish you could hear the crowd here at County Stadium. They are just stunned. And wide off. The Royals have 8 in the 9th. Willie Wilson has his 2nd home run of the game, his 4th home run of the year, and his 3rd inside the park home run. A little slicing, looping drive down the left field line. Jamie Quirk rips one into right center field. Gorman Thomas can't get it. And it bounces into the stands. It will be a ground rule double. Jimmy, don't wake me up just now. I'm having the most pleasant dream. I was having a nightmare a while ago, and I've got that sorted out, and I'm having this real good dream, so don't disturb me for a while, will you? Don't believe it. I'll tell you, Fred, the nightmare right now belongs to the Milwaukee Brewers manager, George Bamberger. Paul Mitchell, in relief of Mike Caldwell, sailed into this inning, having retired 6 straight men in 2 innings of work. And all of a sudden, you talk about everything collapsing around you. Here's Amos Otis. Willie Wilson has 6 RBIs in this game now. 2 singles, 2 home runs. Amos Otis, right-hand batter. Here's the pitch. Going outside, ball 1. Amos 2 out of 5. He is one of only 2 men to make out here in the inning. And he hit a line shot right at center fielder Gorman Thomas. The other out was the sacrifice fly off the bat of Lecoq. Breaking ball for a strike. 14-11 Royals. 21 hits. The Royals have effected some tremendous comebacks in just the last 2 weeks. Amos is swinging a miss. And this one, with Darrell Porter and George Brett out of the lineup. The Royals trailed, remember, by the score of 11-2. It is now Royals 14, Brewers 11. Brett and Porter left after 5 innings. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Otis. Jamie Quirk at second. Jamie is 3 out of 3 since coming in. Otis takes a little bit outside. An incredible comeback. Here's the pitch. Line shot center field. Thomas makes the catch. So Otis made 2 of the 3 outs, and both were line shots to center field. What an inning. 8 runs, 9 hits. There were no errors. There was a man left, and we go to the bottom of the 9th. And the score, the Royals 14, Milwaukee 11. Well, the Orioles very happy about this. They have already won in the 9th inning against their opponents. They defeated Minnesota. The Red Sox lost. They lost to the Chicago White Sox 8-5. So this would put the Brewers 7 back
of the Orioles in the American League East. The Yankees have already lost. They're 7.5, and they pick up another game on the Tigers, who are 8.5. So things worked out pretty well if Kansas City can hold off Milwaukee in a home ninth. But a game like this, with scores more like football, anything again could happen. Let's check some more scores. All the other games in the American League are over. National League, after 4.5, San Francisco leads St. Louis 2-1. After 4, Pittsburgh 1, Los Angeles nothing. And after 3.5, no score between Chicago and San Diego, but Briggs has hit a home run for the Padres in the fourth, one on, his 5th of the year, so San Diego leads in the home fourth, still batting by at least 2-0. More on the trade we mentioned earlier between the Yankees and Padres. New York traded veteran outfielder Jay Johnstone, San Diego Padres, for minor league right-hander Dave Weiermeister. In addition, the Yankees dealt catcher DH Cliff Johnson to Cleveland for reliever Don Hood. Johnson, the backup catcher, tangled with Rich Gossage in a clubhouse incident in mid-April and left Gossage with an injured hand. Gossage, who had a 2.01 earned run average in 63 appearances with 27 saves last year, has been on the disabled list since.
We go to the bottom of the ninth, 14-11 in favor of the Royals. The Royals got 8 runs in the top of the ninth. Marty Patton, a former Brewer, will be the new pitcher. Jamie Quirk is catching. He has been for 4 innings now. George Scott, who's been playing at first, will play third. He has played third. In fact, when he came up to the Boston Red Sox, he did play third base. Pete Lecoq is at first, Washington at short, White at second. The outfield remains Wilson in left, Otis in center, Cowens in right. Royals, I just think it's incredible, have not received one single base on balls in this game. So they have had to manufacture their 14 runs with 21 hits. The Brewers have made 1 error, but that's giving very little away. Listen to this. The Royals have 18 singles, 1 double, and 2 home runs. And the 2 home runs, both hit by Willie Wilson, both 3-run home runs. His first one left the stadium at the left field wall, his first outside the park home run, and then his 10th inning home run was an inside the park home run, a little flare down the left field line, which rolled away from Pokovich in the corner. And I wish you could have seen Willie Wilson circling the bases. You know, we thought he went around the bases fast when he hit that inside the park home run against the Yankees last Saturday afternoon. Well, he did. But you should have seen him go around the bases on this one tonight. Well, it ain't over yet. We know that, don't we? 14-11 Royals. Marty Patton will face the top of the batting order. And that means Molitor, who's 4 out of 5, Cecil Cooper, who's 2 out of 5, and Sal Bando, who's 2 out of 4 with a 3-run homer. I don't think I mentioned the fact that Willie gets Scully gift certificates. You knew that. He gets it twice tonight. Here we go. Marty Patton pitches. Molitor takes a breaking ball for a strike. Most of the fans departed in the 8th inning. Here's the pitch. Bunted foul by Molitor. They're trying to take advantage of George Scott. But the count now is 0-2. Scott at third, Lecoq at first, Jamie Quirk the catcher. The Brewers have had just 2 hits since the 4th inning. They got 3 runs in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third, 5 in the fourth, and they thought left the Royals for dead. Fly ball, right field. Al Collins can't find it. Now he makes the catch. He was having problems with the light. And finally, he found the ball and made the catch. One away. Here's Cecil Cooper. Cecil 2 out of 5. He singled in the first and again in the sixth. Signal given by Jamie Quirk. Marty nods yes. Into motion. Here's the pitch. Breaking stuff is low. 1 ball, no strike. Don't forget the job done by Stephen Gorey. Outside corner, well thrown, 1-1. Mingo worked the 7th and 8th innings, allowing no hits, no runs, just 1 base runner. Royals made 2 good plays back of him in the 8th, one by Todd Cruz, or one by Washington, the other by Collins. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Bunted out in front of the plate. Jamie Quirk up with the ball, and the throw is in time. Well done by James. And that is not an easy play. Jamie Quirk is not at all used to that catcher's glove. And he made a fine throw to Pete Lecoq. Cooper can run, and he was batting from the left side. Here's Bando. He's 2 out of 4, a 3-run homer in the first. Marty Patton's breaking ball is strike, 0-1 to Bando. Signal given. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Inside corner with a slider. Strike 2, it's 0-2. Remember how the Royals shocked the Boston Red Sox on Tuesday night when they scored the tying run. Home run by Braun. There's a drive into right center field. Collins to his right, calling for it. And the Royals have incredibly won the game. An incredible victory. They trailed after 4, 11-2. They win 14-11. They score 8 in the 9th. They did it without Brett and Porter, who were removed from the game after 5 innings. And the Royals, needless to say, a giddy bunch. I was going to say happy. They're happy, but they have to be almost giddy as they go to the clubhouse. Final score again, Royals 14, Milwaukee 11. Back in a minute.
Let's check the West Coast games now. They're almost caught up with us in the National League after 5 innings now. Pirates lead the Dodgers 1-0. 4.5, San Diego 2, and Chicago 0. The other game on the West Coast, St. Louis and San Francisco, 4.5. The Giants ahead of St. Louis 2-1 again. Willie McCovey has hit his 514th career home run. It came in the 4th. Nobody on his 9th of the year. Rounding them up again in the National League, the finals. Houston 2, Montreal 1. The New York Mets beat Atlanta by a score of 2-1. It was Cincinnati 6, Philadelphia 3. In the American League, Chicago beat Boston 8-5. Baltimore 6, Minnesota 5. Texas outscored the New York Yankees 9-5. Home runs in the game, Oliver, Texas, 5th, 1 on his 9th of the year. Pinella, Yankees 8, 1 on his 7th of the season. Toronto blanked Oakland 6-0. Cleveland defeated Seattle 13-3, and California nosed out Detroit 8-7. Second straight loss and as many tries for the Bengals' new skipper, Sparky Anderson. And this game, of course, the heartbreaker for the home team, Milwaukee, after leading 11-2 after 4 innings of play, were beaten by 3, 14-11. Let's go back for a minute or so for the wrap-up as we return to County Stadium, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Well, Fred, you may watch a lot more baseball before you see an incredible comeback like the one tonight. Just a miraculous, incredible. You think of a lot of adjectives that you might apply, but all in all, 8 runs in the 9th add up to a 14-11 victory. The Royals trailed, as we said, after 4 with a score of 11-2. And the Brewers had left them for dead and rise from the ashes they did. Yeah, the Brewers weren't the only ones that left them for dead. I'm sitting here, I've seen it, I believe it, but it hasn't even begun to sink in yet, Denny. It's everything that you said it was. Boy, a couple of thoughts about this ball club. First of all, about their integrity and their courage. It's been so easy to quit tonight. And I've read those letters to the editor, and I've heard those phone calls to the station complaining about the Royals. I really don't care to read or hear any more about them right now. And no nobody knows what's going to happen from this point on. But if there is to be a turning point in the season, the Royals have been kind of lolling along.